We are live. Welcome to this very special live stream where we're going to have an interview with James Aspey. He's waiting in the backstage, and I'm just going to go through a quick few little things before we kick off. So first of all, if you are here to ask some questions or you want to get involved in the conversation, you can do that. You can use the super chat option. However, I want to make sure that you know, because of there's going to be some controversy today. Obviously, we're going to get into some topics that are going to be maybe some people are going to disagree with. So look, if you're going to use the super chat for this, I'm just going to give you a heads up right now. If it's anything shitty, if it's anything unproductive, you're not going to get the comment on the screen. All right, it's not going to happen. So I want to be real clear with you. Aside from that, if you want to ask questions, you can ask questions. If you click the link in the pinned comment, we're going to do a Q&A at the end, which will get to as many questions as possible. But aside from that, clearing up a little bit, we're hoping it's going to be a productive conversation. We're going to get into quite a lot of topics. As I said, we're going to get into some more. We're going to touch on the controversies and everything that's been going on, of course, but it's going to be more towards the back end of the interview. So do stick around for that if that's what you're here for, which I assume a lot of you are because you love drama. You know, it's all right. It's okay. It's okay. You can admit it. But we are going to talk about other things as well. All right. We're not just here to be entertainers, you know, lots of drama. We're going to actually try and have some kind of productive discussion around all of this as well. So thanks everyone for coming. We're going to kick off now. We're going to bring James in and we're going to kick off the interview and the conversation. So James, welcome to the channel.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Cool. And first off, I just want to tell you off the bat how jealous I am of that background.
Beautiful place here, man.
Yeah.
Come visit.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. It's for those who don't know where I am, I'm in Finland. It's about minus 15, minus 16 degrees Celsius right now. So seeing you stood there in a vest is killing me a little bit. And
I just put it on for the live stream.
Yeah, nice one. But let's talk, man. So you're clearly an inspiration to many people out there. Many non-vegans have gone vegan and have found out about animal rights and veganism through you. You have inspired a lot of vegans to be more vocal, and a lot of vegans actually I know have become more confident in their activism, more confident in speaking about animal rights after watching some of your speeches and your videos and, you know, seeing your work. So first of all, like, what is it like? How does it feel to be in a position now, the one that you're in, where you have such an influence over both vegans and non-vegans? Like, how does that feel to you to be in this position?
Yeah, well, I've worked very hard to get to the point that I'm at. I've been very consistent. I've educated myself a lot. I've put myself in a lot of uncomfortable situations. I've taken a lot of risks, and I've communicated this message over and over again thousands of times. And I'm very glad that I've stayed the course despite all the challenges along the way. And I feel like I'm just getting more effective at getting people to think about this and take it seriously. And I'm very happy that people pay attention to my work and listen to me. You know, I did it when I had 100 followers, and I would do it if I lost every single follower still. But the more people paying attention and sharing my work, my thoughts, my efforts, the better. And I believe that over the years, I've refined what I say and how I say it, and tried many different approaches to reach many different audiences. And yeah, I'm really, really grateful for my audience. I'm grateful for the people who pay attention to what I'm saying, give feedback, share suggestions, etc. And yeah, I feel very happy to have, you know, helped people connect with this issue and even motivate them to go on and help other people do the same.
It's not always been like that. You mentioned there are 100 subscribers. When you had 100 followers, 100 subs, you were doing the same thing. And that's actually an interesting point, because I think a lot of people, I'd say probably the most people that come across you in your work are coming across you in the latter end of your working life, let's say. You know what I mean? Like, as in they find you, they see you with hundreds of thousands of subs and, you know, videos with hundreds of thousands of views, and they're like, this dude is like he's just, you know, it's a big deal. This dude's a big deal. I'm going to follow this guy. But what actually propelled you to the point where you were able to reach so many people? Like, was there one moment in your, let's say, activism life that actually where something just happened, or was it like gradual that you were able to reach more and more people?
There was a few different things that happened over the years. The first thing that I did, which I'd started the day that I went vegan, was a year-long vow of silence where I didn't talk for an entire year. And my goal with that was to do something that people probably hadn't heard of being done before. So I figured it would probably generate media interest and the interest of just typical people During that year, I traveled around Australia. I went to sanctuaries. I rescued animals from factory farms. I educated people on what I was eating, on the health benefits, on everything vegan related that I thought might influence somebody. And cycled across Australia to show that you can be a healthy, strong vegan. And then at the end of that, so I developed somewhat of a following during that year. I was posting pretty much from 100 followers to like 18,000 or something.
Right.
And I'd had some media interest and things like that. But the thing that really propelled me after that was when I spoke for the first time on a morning show in Australia. And my first words were on that show. And my first words were a direct plea for people to realize how wrong the way that our culture is in regards to how we treat animals and what needs to change and why we should be vegan. And I'd thought long and hard about those words, what they were going to be, in a 10-day meditation course. And I came out, I said the words, that was my first thing I said. And then that interview was seen by millions and millions of people very quickly. And from there, so that was like a big boost in terms of people following my journey. Because a lot of people had never heard of me before. A lot of activists, a lot of vegans, they were just like, whoa, who's this guy that just did this whole year of silence for animals and said this very direct and strong message on TV? Never heard of him, mad. And then people started following. And a lot of people put me on a pedestal. And at that time, I'd only been vegan for a year. And I was like, okay, I have a couple of options here. Because I didn't even know if I was going to continue doing what I was doing. I had other ideas and plans, you know. I thought maybe I'll just do this one big thing for animals and, yeah, like get on with my life and get back to business like what I was doing. But then people started inviting me to do speeches, which is something that I'd already trained in from my past job as a personal trainer and doing speeches and lectures on cruise ships. And I was like, well, yeah, maybe I should, I'll try it. And I started just trying to give speeches on animal rights and combined it with my story and the vow of silence. It became an interesting speech. And then I just said yes to every single opportunity, went to every single speech. And then soon later, I did a speech. It was a new one. It was not just for people that weren't vegan to become vegan, but I gave a speech on partly that, and then also why I think vegans should become activists, and also how I think an effective way we can advocate is. And that speech got like 13 million views. A 10-minute clip of it got about 13 million views on a Facebook page, and then that kind of went viral, and that was another boost. And and then over the years, there's just been a bunch of videos that have got like 1 million here, a few million there. You know, media interviews here, big podcasts there. I was on the Laura Cleary podcast. I was on the Rich Roll podcast, the Logan Paul podcast, and a bunch of others. And mainly it's been like just being very consistent. And over the years, it's just got to the point of where it is.
It's awesome. And you mentioned that you did a 10-day course. Was that for Vipassana, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
You did. That stuck with me because that's like a 10-day silent meditation, and the hardest part for most people is the silence, but for you, I guess it was just you were already doing it, right? So that must have been like a nice to not have to work on being silent. You were already working on that. I guess that was
the first time I did a Vipassana was before I was even vegan. I'd just become vegetarian. And during my first 10-day Vipassana, I came home from working on cruise ships. I was like, I'm vegetarian, everyone's losing their mind. And then I booked in for this 10-day meditation course. And during that course, I was thinking, what could I do? Like, I want to do something good. And I had an idea to take a year-long vow of silence. And then I thought, what could I do it for? And I wasn't even necessarily going to do it for animals initially. I was just a vegetarian. I was just learning about it. But soon later, I realized how important the issue is. And how all-encompassing it is in terms of health. So I was very passionate about health, in terms of ethics, and in terms of environment, and countless, issues in between. And then I was like, this makes the most sense to do it about this. And it's something I've become almost instantly passionate about, from going from someone who didn't care about animals at all to instantly passionate, telling everyone, hey, like, have you seen what happens in free-range factory farms and humane slaughter? Like, I'm trying to get my head around this. And then so I had the idea, and then I thought, okay, I'll plan for it. I'll see what happens. I may or may not take a vow of silence. Everybody's telling me it's a bad idea, including all the vegans who I would post on a group. I'm like, what do you think of this idea? And everyone's like, no, animals need your voice. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe they also need big stunts, you know?
Events, yeah.
Yeah, like they've got a lot of voices. Well, they don't have enough, but they have voices, but they don't have someone who's done this. This just could be good. Then I did another Vipassana later in the year before I started my vow silence, just to like see if anything else came to me, and a few different things came to me. And then when I started my vow silence, the year-long one, I'd already done 2 10-day Vipassanas. So I felt fairly prepared, and I'd done a few different things.
Yeah,
But
20 days is enough to, preparation for 365 days.
Yeah, and it was helpful.
So like you say you went veggie after the first Vipassana. Then what led up to that point? Because I can't imagine it was just, oh, I'll do a Vipassana and go vegetarian. Like what had inspired you to actually do Vipassana and start looking into this side of things?
So my first Vipassana was inspired. I did it when I was 25, I think. And it was inspired by someone who, when I was 18, came back from a Vipassana, and I saw them straight after. They came straight to my place after. And I was like, whoa, you are vibing on a whole nother level here. You're shining, you're glowing. Like, this is interesting. And this is someone who I respected their opinion very much. Then she told me I've been at Vipassana. It was this amazing thing. And I was like, yeah, one day I might do that. And then being on the cruise ship, and I met this person who said to me, eating animals is bad karma. And this is a very wise person, a very wise Indian man who was telling me all this knowledge. And he told me eating animals is bad karma. And I'm like, how do you know everything that you know? And he said meditation. And then I remembered Vipassana. And it was really funny, actually, because at Vipassana, the teaching is from a man named Goenka, who basically brought the teaching back once it was lost over many years. Yeah, and the dude Goenka looks exactly like the dude Vishwan, I think his name was, who I met on the cruise ship. It was super trippy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool. So that was the right. So it was just a few chance happenings, and so maybe if you hadn't have met these people, and who knows, maybe you never would have done the Vipassana, and then the second Vipassana, and then never done the year of silence, and then it's weird how these things can influence, right? It could have gone such a different way, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I think it was all very meant to be, and all the right timing, and all led to exactly where I'm supposed to go, for sure.
Awesome, man. And your life hasn't been like, I think I want to get into this, and I don't know if you want to get into this, but I think you've cut out for a second.
Go. I'm hearing you.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get into this. It's definitely a touchy area, but I feel like I can speak personally when I say that a lot of people assume of me, like when you're talking about this now, talking about cruises and Vipassana and meditation, and it all comes across as like, oh, we're just two really privileged guys who've never struggled ever, and we've always had everything given to us. And people always assume that I'm a middle class or upper class person, and I'm not. I'm actually not from that background at all. And I think they assume the same thing of you, but you've not had a necessarily the easiest of lives, right? You've had some serious shit way before your time as an activism, right?
Yeah.
I think I watched a video about that. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Well,
do you think that influenced you to go down this route in any way as well?
Definitely. Although I don't actually think it's relevant to the message that I'm sharing at all, where I came from and my privilege or anything. It's got nothing to do with me, what I'm saying about the animal holocaust. But definitely my experiences, I had cancer when I was 17. I was on chemotherapy for 3 years. I suffered a lot. I nearly died numerous times. I was in a lot of pain, and it was a very tough journey. I put on 25 kilos over that time. I have stretch marks that ripped and bled. And, my health was basically as low as it can go in many different ways. So there was that experience. But that experience of suffering definitely led me to caring more about the suffering of others and understanding suffering on another level and not wanting anyone to suffer. So there was that. I had bulimia kind of from this experience. When I was in hospital, I was on a huge dose of steroids as part of the treatment. I had an insatiable appetite. I was constantly eating. I put on a huge amount of weight, as I said, and I was binge eating, and I didn't know, but I was emotional eating, and I didn't understand that term until many years later. And this led to a very, very bad pattern with foods of eating, trying to get some sort of high from it, and then being so full to the point that I needed to vomit because I felt absolutely terrible. And then that led to this being a more consistent thing. But I'm very grateful for this experience as well, because it taught me so much about emotional eating, about other reasons why people still eat products or foods when they know that they don't want to or they shouldn't, which was my battle for a long time with dairy. I knew I didn't want to eat it, but I couldn't stop myself from eating it. So understanding the emotional reasons behind why people eat helped me a lot with my advocacy and speaking with people and helping influence them to change and take steps and just help people out of addiction in general. Because that was a huge addiction, and Vipassana helped me understand that as well. And Vipassana was a huge part of how I came out of that. On top of that, I had a drug-induced psychosis when I was 21, and that was a really intense time because my whole perception of reality shifted, and it was very confusing and it was very scary at times. And but that helped me very much get a very strong mind. I learned my weaknesses through that, and I was able to make myself much stronger and more resilient and do more meditation and just take care of myself in a much better way. So I'm very grateful for that experience too. And all of this came with helping me, like my vow of silence helped me become a better communicator. I didn't realize this at the time, but after I started speaking again, what I was doing when I was voiceless was that's what I would do all the time. Sign language, body language. And it made me want to make my words much more concise, my sentences, whatever I wanted to say. So when I came to communicate again, I noticed as I was talking that my thoughts would go to this other place to process before I would actually say it. And this all helped me as well. So man, heaps of things along the way got me to where I'm at right now.
I think that it's something in my experience, the most passionate activists, the most passionate vegans, the ones who will not just go vegan, the ones who will go vegan and they will go out and, speak up. They always tend to be, or not always, but most of the time, they tend to be the ones who've had some serious suffering themselves. It's almost like if we've been through a rough upbringing, a rough childhood, or even a rough adulthood, like if we've been through something that's really impacted us, we're more likely to relate to others who are going through it. And in this case, they're the animals. You find most vegans who are vegan, obviously, who are vegan for the animals, which is the only reason to be vegan, but we can come to that later. They tend to be the ones who have had something happen to them, and then that's why they can look at the animals and say, I connect with you because I know what it feels like to be silenced. I know what it feels like to be, treated as someone with no rights. It's a very common thing to experience suffering and relate to someone else's suffering. So it doesn't surprise me that you've also experienced some of these some suffering in your life, and then you go out and try to end it in others. I think it's a beautiful thing, actually, beautiful and very sad thing that I see with many vegans. Many vegans have a lot of demons, but then that's the reason they're vegan, as we all,
Sure. Yeah, it's good that, we are turning our suffering into something positive, channeling it somewhere good. Definitely. And the other side of that coin is a lot of people I know haven't been through experiences like that. They've had their stuff, whatever, but, some people haven't suffered that much. And so to get them to connect with suffering you might need to take other avenues. And it's all just part of like trying to understand how to reach people.
Definitely. So we talked about like your toughest moments in your life so far, but what about within animal rights work? Like, what would you say has been your toughest or I don't know, most difficult or most challenging moment for you so far in your life of advocating for animal rights? If you can pick one moment anyway.
Well, I would just say it's more of a consistent thing. It's more of just consistently battling, it's like, fuck, man, are people still so ignorant on these topics? I commented on something I saw earlier today. It was a farmer scratching a calf and talking about the vegan teacher controversy, a TikTok person. I don't know if you know about it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and then saying that, I believe in free speech, but when people are saying really horrible things, I'm just like, horrible things, saying horrible things, you're going to murder that calf, mate. You're going to murder the calf's mum. And it's just, I guess what I am trying to say is probably the most challenging thing overall is just the level of ignorance and the level of pushback when you would expect that you just share the logic and people are like, whoa, yeah,
right, yeah,
totally. And instead you come with a million excuses and, defense mechanisms from people. And that is just something that gets tiring and frustrating. But aside from that, just obvious things, man, just seeing a lot of suffering in factory farms, just filming slaughter when you're just standing there, just being a vegan, just like anybody, being a vegan in a not vegan world. You just see things all the time around you, and it's just depressing. It can be depressing and very ugly and very sad and heartbreaking, basically. But in terms of
yeah, you know what really gets me though, and I know you've been through this, and I can really connect with you on this, is that when you go to these places, right, slaughterhouses, slaughter shops, I know you've been to some, and I was in India for about 12 months, regularly going to these places, regularly observing and filming and documenting chickens and goats and babies having their throats slit. It was horrendous, and I know you can identify with me when I say this, and how many people who've definitely never seen or been in that position tell you things like, how could you just stand there? They tell you, how could you just stand there? Why didn't you do anything? It's so difficult. That's, for me, my biggest challenge is keeping calm with people that say stupid shit like that. Because it's like, well, what do you think? What could we do in these positions? These are people holding massive knives, and there are about 20, 30 of them. And you think, what, we're going to grab one of these animals and run, or try and negotiate with some, not in these are not in languages we can even share with them, so we're foreigners speaking English, and you really think they're going to take it well when we come in and try and tell them, no, give me an animal, you shouldn't do that. It's really, so I know you've been through that. I've seen the same criticisms come for you as well.
Well, it comes in countless different ways of people questioning your motives, questioning your actions, people who don't do anything almost. People who don't know you, people who don't know the full story, and people constantly jump into conclusions online. And that's just one example of many of, why didn't you rescue the animals? Well, have you maybe thought about that yourself before you asked? Maybe there's a bunch of reasons why this happened or that happened. And like in terms of that specific scenario, I don't necessarily think the greater good is always to rescue an animal if that's possible. I mean, it very well may be, and obviously if you can, you definitely would, but it helps one animal, whereas waking up a million people to slaughter and how immoral it is and how unnecessary it is could potentially save a lot more. And, we're constantly having to make these judgment calls, and we're not always going to make the right ones. And no one's perfect, but, you just do your best and try to do what makes sense, and learn from mistakes when you make them, and that's it.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people have this impression that there is this magical places where we can just rescue an animal and we can drop them off in this beautiful place where they're going to be totally fine forever. And it's not that simple. You can't walk into a slaughterhouse and grab an animal without a home for that animal. And if you do that, you're irresponsible. Imagine that animal ends up going to a home that's actually treating them worse than the slaughterhouse would have treated them. Imagine if they go somewhere where they're not fed properly, and they die a slow, painful death because you couldn't find them a home that was suitable. Then you're responsible for that. There's a lot more to this than just, why didn't you rescue the animal? That, to me, that's one of the toughest things I've had to deal with. I think people very short-sighted on this topic.
Well, I think as long as you know your intentions, mate, who cares what other people think? If you know what you were doing was the best thing you could do, then people are always going to have opinions. They're always going to talk shit behind their screen. But whatever, if you know that what you're doing is the best thing you can do, then that's how I sleep soundly at night.
I think it's a smart way to be. I think a lot of people can benefit from that advice as well, man. What about flipping that on its head then? I mean, we talked about the worst moments. What are the highlights of the work you've done? Like, is there any one moment where you're like, wow, this is like, in my head is like the best thing I've ever done?
Okay. Man, when I can make it's hard to say. I guess, any viral video, especially my one speaking for the first time, because I know that just influenced so many people to either go vegan or be a more activist. And then my speech, this speech is your wake-up call, I was very proud of, because, I felt, part of the reason why I did that speech was I felt like there wasn't that much that at least I could see in my limited perspective of people advocating in a way that I thought would be really effective, of just like being very direct and honest, but also with love and support. I saw a lot of like criticizing and that kind of thing, because, you know, it's hard to hold your emotions in on this topic sometimes. But I felt like there was a huge space of available for this type of advocacy that I didn't see a lot of. So I was really happy when a lot of people told me that they had shifted their approach and they were seeing really great results. You know, there's things that have happened even very recently where I've influenced very, very wealthy and powerful people to consider what is happening, and they've already started making changes and big changes and basically gone vegan already after just a couple of conversations. And I know that's going to it's already actually having a huge ripple effect. And that's just the beginning of that. You know, and just getting on, like Logan Paul was a really great audience. It was almost entirely non-vegan. It was millions of people. And the comment section in that YouTube video that he shared of our conversation is full of people going vegan. But honestly, man, like, yeah, I love all that. I think it's all awesome. And I feel like it's just the beginning. There's so much more I want to do, man. Like, I've got such big ideas and big dreams. And yeah, I feel like they're actually quite achievable. So, you know, everything I've done already, I'm really stoked about. But yeah, I'm really excited for the future as well.
Awesome, man. And that's, you know, for not everyone can get on the Logan Paul podcast or the Rich Roll podcast, right? So what about for people that are not in that same position as you? Like, we've got this global pandemic right now where most people are in lockdown or some form of lockdown. You know, activism, street activism's taken a massive hit. Even protesting has taken a massive hit. You know, even whatever you're into, basically, whether it be political or working with the public, it's all taking a big hit right now. In your opinion, what do you think vegans can do right now to keep the fight in this tough scenario we're in?
Yeah, I always think that social media is where we should share our thoughts, our meals, our quotes, our pictures, our videos, you know, and there's so much content online that you could spend the rest of your life posting 20 times a day. And I think that we should, focus on social media, maybe also studying, getting more educated on animal rights. If you have a specific niche that you are trying to target or a specific set of skills, honing those skills, making connections with other people. You know, I'm sure everybody's different, and, you know, just, trying to adjust to suit. But yeah, it's challenging not being able to do things the same way as usual. And I'm sure we'll adapt and figure it out. But yeah, always my advice is to whatever you do decide to do, put it on social media, and then you'll be able to reach so many more people. And maybe use this time as a time to get educated, do some new brainstorming, meet some new people that you can work with, you know, have some online debates if you want to practice debating, whatever it is. Heaps of stuff we can still do.
Yeah, definitely. I was talking with another activist. It's called Ollie for the Animals. We had an interview yesterday, and I said the similar thing, actually, that I just discovered Discord, which you can do like Discord outreach. You can go onto random servers where they're just loads of random people, like a chat room. I don't if you remember the chat rooms before they all got banned. Yeah. It's like that, basically. But you just jump in there, and then you can just talk to strangers and do outreach. So there's totally, as you just said, like the social media and the online outreach and all this kind of stuff. I think right now, I agree with you. This is pretty much, well, it's almost the only thing we can do right now. And
it's good though. It'll give people an option it'll give people the opportunity to learn more about how they can be effective on social media, I hope. Because I think it's just such an amazing tool and still so underrated in terms of the power.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because we can talk a little bit about your style on social media.
Yeah,
it's taken a bit of a change of direction in the past couple of weeks, to put it lightly, I'd say. So, what's influenced the switch of communication style then? Because it went from my perspective, just to give you where I'm seeing it. Maybe I'm wrong here, but it seems to have gone from you never treaded lightly, really. You know, you're always like direct, but there was definitely some lines that you didn't really cross. For whatever reason, and I feel like you've decided to go, you know, no, fuck it, I'm going to cross some of these lines now and kind of really go like head first into some of these topics and some of these into some of these posts. So what has something changed for you, or was it, what's changed then?
Totally. Okay, so first of all, I should tell you, because you probably weren't following me back at the start. My first year, my vow of silence, I was very encouraging, supportive, you know, we can do this together, and I had some success. After that, a little while later, I got very hardcore about pretty much, I never would post meat. It was almost always about the animals, about the slaughter, about the brutality, the violence. And I tried that approach for a while too, and I noticed I wasn't getting as good results. And the people who were engaging were mostly vegan already. And then I met a social media influencer who I talked strategy with. I asked for some tips, and they gave me some tips. And basically their tip was, try to be more of an influencer. Put your face out there more. Talk about you more, your life more. Then you'll reach a non-vegan crowd and you can still do your vegan stuff. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And I did that for a long time. And I think it was an excellent approach. And I still think it's one of the best approaches, at least for me. What changed, and I've been doing that pretty much ever since, to some degree. Sometimes I'll feel more inclined to be more activist-y, and sometimes I'll feel more inclined to be more influencer-y kind of thing. Yeah, if that makes sense. And yeah, it's just been a strategy that I've tried and seen good results. And I've felt for a while actually like, okay, I guess I'll just keep doing this because I don't really have a better idea at this point. So I will just keep going with my flow. I'm getting some results. Obviously I want more, but I do what I can do, and yeah, it's good. Like, I don't know what else to do right now. But recently, so years ago, in my first year of being a vegan, I studied so much. And one of the books I read was Eternal Treblinka by Charles Patterson, which compares the Holocaust of animals to the Holocaust in World War II. And reading this blew my mind. I also read another book at that time called Terrorists or Freedom Fighters, which was a bunch of essays about animal liberation activists and people who do arson and sabotage and liberations. Are they terrorists or are they freedom fighters? And that also was a very influential book for me. So combining these two books, I took the issue more seriously. When I started trying to talk about it in this way, a lot of people, a vocal minority is actually what I should say, a vocal minority of vegans would call me out on it and say, I had a shirt I made, I said, animals are not property, objects, slaves, machines. And they had such a huge problem with the word slaves. And anytime I'd mention that animals are raped or that it's a Holocaust, I'd get this huge, seemingly huge backlash from, like I said, a vocal minority. Now, at this time, I was a new vegan, and I was very open to being wrong, very open to the criticism, very open to knowing I don't know everything. So I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to engage in these conversations. People were very firm in their stance that what I was doing was wrong, even though I didn't believe when we debated the topic that they had a very strong argument. But at that time, I just wanted to err on the side of caution. I didn't want it to do the wrong thing by anybody. So I felt like I needed to take more time in understanding if what I was doing was correct, if they were correct, and just figuring out the best approach going forward. Over the years since then, many times I have called it rape, a Holocaust, slavery, etc., because I feel those terms are perfectly accurate and animals deserve that terminology. But what I did was keep what I saw at the time, a sensible balance, because I knew anytime. You still with me, homie?
Yeah, we lost you for a minute there.
Okay, nice. I said, I'd do it, and I'd be like, I don't know, I'm still 100% sure. I don't want to do the wrong thing by anybody. Okay, so that's been sort of how I've understood it for a while. Recently, weeks ago, I was just, as I do a lot of the time, thinking about the topic, thinking about this. I've engaged so many times in the discussion on slavery, Holocaust, rape, etc., so many times, and I have never felt like the argument against it is stronger. I hear the argument, but I think it's extremely weak compared to the argument of, well, what about the harm you're causing if you don't use those words? What about what you're insinuating if you don't say it's this and that and that? You're basically saying it's something else if you don't say it's these things. And what harm does that cause? And I got to a point recently where I realized I'm not being a good vegan, because vegans strive to cause the least amount of harm. And I have two choices: call it what it is or don't call it what it is. And what I realized is both ways cause harm. If I call it what it is, some people will feel triggered by hearing the word rape, for example, and that will cause them some harm. Okay, if I don't call it rape, people that I'm trying to advocate to don't think it's rape, because if it was rape, I would just say it's rape. So instead we use all these euphemisms: forcible impregnation, slaughter, mass murder, or mass slaughter, whatever, and it just doesn't do it justice at all. Words are one of the best ways we have to do it justice, and we're using all these watered down words. We should be using the most powerful, strong, influential words available to us in language to describe the longest lasting atrocity with countless more victims than any other by so far, causing suffering constantly that still exists now. And we're not even calling it a holocaust. We're not even saying animals are raped, even though this is a constant part of the process and legal. So anyway, I just realized this is part of my epiphany. I was like, fuck, I'm causing harm either way. So what causes less harm? And it was very clear in terms of, which way would cause less harm. If using these words is going to get people to take this more seriously, because currently they don't take animal rights seriously. They think vegans are a joke, and they think animal rights is it's so pathetic. It's such a pathetic movement in people's opinions. They're like, animals, there's real problems happening in the world. You care about chickens, fish. They don't understand, bro. And so, I just realized, okay, like, I'm doing a disservice. They deserve to have their story told accurately. And I'm an activist that people look up to. I'm an influential activist. People want to know how to do it. What would I say? And I'm doing it all wrong. I was doing it fine, but I realized I could do it better, and I didn't feel like I was doing the animals the justice they deserve at all. Like, so far from it. Still to this day, I'm like, they deserve so much better, so much more. But I'm just giving them what I got, and I think that's what we're all doing. But it's like so sad what they have compared to what they're up against. Even vegans. So many speciesist vegans, so many vegans that never do anything but just eat a plant-based diet. Like, it's sad, very, very sad. So I just felt like compelled. I was like, okay, I need to change now. And I just literally changed. And I was done with caring about offending people and caring about this conversation. I've debated it enough times in my mind and with other people, and read enough on the topic for many years. I was like, okay, I'm ready to just make my decision here. It is what it is. And that's that. And so since then, I've been going very strong. Now, in saying that, and what I mean by going very strong is just calling it what it is. It's a holocaust. And I'm calling it the animal holocaust constantly, because I want people to think about it. In saying that, like, what frustrates me, and this goes back to what I learned back in the day of just being hardcore all the time, you'll lose a lot of people. I've lost 30,000 followers doing it this way, just on Instagram alone. People think James Aspey is just in it for fame and money. Why would I be doing an approach that is losing me tens of thousands of followers if that's what I care about? I care about getting the conversation on the table and keeping it going. The animal holocaust, and that's why I'm doing all these interviews with media, getting it out there despite all the criticism, and just going hard on it, despite what other people think and how many people disagree with me. It's too bad. Like, fine, you have your opinion. And that's basically where it's at. Sorry, and what I was trying to say is that on top of that, still I believe you need to mix it up. You need to, if you want to continue influencing people and having people follow your life journey, especially ones that aren't vegan, I have to put up my smoothie bowl recipe, despite me just wanting to talk about the Holocaust. Right? Because I'm like, hello, who cares about what I put in my smoothie? Go vegan already, hurry. But you got to play the game, and and that's what comes with practice and like just understanding how it all goes. But so that's about it.
Yeah, and this playing the game actually is something I think I don't think that many people understand, that social media and social media influencing people on social media, or trying to be an influencer on social media, it comes with that burden of also having to do well, if you want to reach a lot more people, it comes with the burden of having to do the lifestyle stuff. And if you're into that, then it's good, if you like doing that. But if you don't, it's kind of something you have to suck up. And we've discussed this actually. I've been discussing it with Annie a little bit in that, like your approach versus someone like Joey's approach, for example, where Joey is pretty much straight down the line. He just slams out the animal rights stuff daily, and that's great. That's great. That's one audience, right?
Totally.
But your audience is different. Your audience would be consisted of people who want to see, I don't know, they follow you not just because of the ethics, right? They follow you because they want to see what some married vegan couple living a certain way. Like, what does that look like? What does it look like to be a vegan in a relationship and living somewhere? And what do you eat and what do you do? People follow people for different reasons.
Like, exactly. What are my thoughts on life? What are my thoughts on meditation? What do I eat for breakfast? What music do I listen to? And it's just like veganism, bro. It's that when you know all the arguments to why people don't go vegan, you try to hit it from every angle. You try to be healthy, or at least that's what I do. I try to be healthy so people can't be like, vegans aren't healthy. You know the environmental arguments, you know the ethical arguments, you make your food look good, and you just try to cover all the bases so that people have nothing left to argue with. And in a similar way, what I'm trying to do on social media, although it's hard because all I really want to talk about is veganism, I try to give people other reasons to follow me, to pay attention, to listen, because I know that a lot of people don't care about veganism at all, but maybe they care about this or they care about that. And I am very much lacking in my approach and how much more I would like to do that has nothing to do with veganism, because I think it's an excellent strategy, but it's so hard, man. Like, I find it hard. The first time I put a photo of just me, like just a selfie that wasn't like about animals, I battled for a whole weekend if I wanted to do it. I'm like, this is an opportunity. I'm going to post something and I'm not going to post about the animals. Like, am I sure this is a good idea? But, it's a long game that we're playing, and sometimes less is more and whatever. And then you can just mix it up. Like what I want to say last thing is that I've gone really hard on the animal holocaust stuff the last few weeks. I'm probably at this point just intuitively feeling like, okay, I'm just going to cool down on that just a little bit right now, just throw in a couple other things in the mix, maybe, and then I'm going to get hardcore back into it probably. And you just got to go with the flow and feel the response of the audience and know how far to push it. And you're just guessing really, but.
Yeah. And look, about this animal holocaust and all of this drama and this controversy, we expect the speciesism and the cognitive dissonance, right? Something that we expect as activists, as vegans, we expect it from non-vegans, and we're ready for it, right? We're surprised when it doesn't happen. Like, if someone's just like, hey, that makes sense, actually. How do I go vegan? You're like, are you sure you don't want to argue with me a bit first? It's like we're at the point where it's like we know it's going to come, right? And this is what we work on. But how do we work on this? How do we fight against speciesism and cognitive dissonance when it's shared by both the vegans and non-vegans? And they're also saying the same things. Like, I've never seen so many vegans make non-vegan excuses as I've seen in your comment sections. It's incredible. How do we fight that? Where vegans are sounding like non-vegans with the excuses they're making and the arguments they're making against, for example, using the word Holocaust, they sound like non-vegans, right? How do we fight against that speciesism and that cognitive dissonance?
Well, what I would actually love to see is a more united anti-animal Holocaust movement. And I think that it's already happening. This is gonna become what people think about another thing that people think about when they hear Holocaust. And I think that is totally apt. I think that should happen because it's current and we need to do something for the Holocaust victims, whatever we can do. So I think that what I would really love to see and what I encourage, and I've been encouraging activists and vegans to do, is call it what it is. And, just get this conversation continuing and happening. And I guarantee it's going to spark a lot more serious conversations about it than before. I think it's actually desperately what the animal rights movement needs and is lacking, massively lacking. That's what we should. I would love if the majority of us were united on that. And I think a lot of people are just afraid and they don't know what will happen, or they don't think it's effective, or they think it causes more harm than good. And I just disagree with all that. And I would like to continue proving that. Just like I feel like a while back I sort of said, hey, we can advocate for veganism in a way that is like this and like that and supportive and encouraging. And I think it's going to be even better. And some people agreed and some didn't, and some had success and some might not have. Like, everybody's different. It's just my opinion. What my opinion is now on this particular topic is that there's a way to talk about this that is extremely effective, one of the most effective ways we can advocate with our words, and it will most definitely make people take this more seriously. As we're already seeing, as soon as I start talking about it like this, I'm in Lad Bible, I'm in Daily Star, I'm in Daily Mail, I'm in New Zealand Herald, I'm on The Guardian. I think I was on The Guardian. Heaps. As soon as I'm like, animal holocaust, everyone wants to, and they're putting quotes, and it's all logical stuff. It makes sense. You can't argue against it. You can't say it's not a holocaust. It most definitely is a holocaust. You can say, well, I feel offended by that. Okay, like, yeah, I mean, the truth can be offensive sometimes, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And you've taken quite a strong stance on this with people. You've had, let's say, a firm hand with people who have actually come back at you, especially influencers, other influencers like, for example, Garth Davis, or also some people who have been leaving comments. You've been taking the comments and you've been posting the responses up on your page as well. And what's the strategy behind that then? Is that something you've thought through as like, okay, I'm going to screenshot this in my response, I'm going to put it out there because are you trying to achieve something, or is this just, what's the goal? Yeah, what is it? Yeah, talk me through the decision.
Sure. My point in screenshotting and sharing these conversations is, one, to make people read, and like the more seeds planted in people's minds of it being the way it is, just like I screenshot any conversation, this is a conversation I want people to think about. So I want them hearing about the animal holocaust, thinking about the animal holocaust, reading about the arguments in favor of why is this an animal holocaust, obviously, you know, and it's just education based, number one, for people who are reading who aren't convinced. And number two, I want to show people how to argue that it is and not feel scared about doing it. You're right in doing it. And I would argue that it's, you know, like I said earlier, I didn't feel like I wasn't making the vegan choice by not calling it what it is. I was causing more harm in a way that I knew I could cause less harm. So my point in sharing all this is just to show people, hey, you froze. My point is to show people, this is the facts, agree or disagree, you know, and make your arguments if you disagree. And this is how you can have conversations about it that can be fruitful and that can lead to more conversation.
Okay. I think are you in sync right now? I can't tell. Your audio was really weird for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Say something. Okay, so we're back in. Yeah, we're back in. Okay, and do you think it's essential to have this? This is a battle, right? That's happening right now. It's a battle between vegans and non-vegans. It's a battle between vegans and vegans. Do you believe that this battle over language is essential for the animal rights movement, or do you think that it could be left and we could focus on something else?
Okay. Actually, it's not essential necessarily. You know, my guess is that vegan meats, cell meat, whatever, all that's going to be the reason why the world goes vegan. You know, they eat plant meat instead of actual flesh. But if we can get this serious, like, because my fear with that is that everybody just starts eating the vegan meat and no one understands what the hell they did and how wrong it was, and no one learns from it. You know, like the phrase never again, except for what's happening right now and has every single day before, since, during, you know, like learn nothing from it. And we need to learn from this, not just go, oh yeah, we don't do that anymore, we have vegan meat now. It's like, no, you were participating in a Holocaust on unprecedented scale, and hello, let's try to get what lessons we can from such a massive mistake. Is it essential? I don't know, bro. Like, I think that, yeah, we could probably keep making progress, but will it speed things up? 100%, in my opinion. 100% it'll speed things up. And it'll give animals the words that they deserve, you know? And I think that's all important, in just being honest about what's happening and people understanding, and they should.
And yeah, sure. And another, along with this, so along with the more use of the word Holocaust and the use of the word slavery and rape, and what's also come along with this new direction is also, from my perspective, of seeing a more snappy response to the public as well, right? I see you being more, I don't know, snappy is probably the right word, right? A little bit no BS, a little bit more kind of like harsh with people, a little bit more, a little bit less kind of, you used to, from what I could see in the past, you used to take a nice guy approach with a firm nice guy approach. Now it feels like the nice guy is kind of in the background and you're just like, nah, listen, I'm going to tell you how it is. No matter who you are, no matter what you're saying to me, where you're coming from, I don't give a shit. This is how it is. What was that a conscious decision as well for you?
It was, except I definitely still need to refine my approach in this regard. This is a brand new awakening for me, and I've taken on a lot talking about it this way. And so it's been a lot, man. A lot's been going on aside from my normal life with a lot going on. How I've been responding to people. So firstly, another thing that I realized that night is how sick it is to not be vegan. Like, you are seriously disconnected to be eating a dead body and to be patting a dog and to be not thinking about the victim and what they went through and doing that 3 times every day. You're seriously like missing something massive. And it freaks me out. It freaks me out that people can be so disconnected. And I was for so many years. And it's like serious brainwashing, conditioning for years. And yeah, basically I see it in a way, some type of sickness. Like, there's probably better descriptive words, but it's sick to be paying for the torture and slaughter of animals, consuming them when there's absolutely no need to, especially, ignorance is one thing, but especially if you've seen the slaughter, for example, and you're like, yeah, whatever, bacon though, like something's wrong with you. You're brainwashed and it's dangerous. You're causing a lot of very serious violence. So part of my approach shift was also just being like, hello, you're a sick person. You need to change ASAP. What you're doing is very, very wrong. And just being more like blunt and like, ugh. Now in saying, and I've had great success doing that. But also, this is something I did try quite a long time ago when I first was like, trying to be like Gary Rofsky, and I realized it wasn't working for me that well. And what I feel like now I need to do is, I can do both. I think I can bring my new like urgency and seriousness to a more palatable approach. But on top of that, I believe more now in the power of shaming and this type of approach as well. So I don't know, to be honest, right now I'm experimenting. I'm seeing what works, what doesn't. I'm going with the flow. There's probably times where I may have been more effective, being more my old style. And then who knows, bro? Like, I'm just trying to figure it out, to be honest. So yeah. I feel like what I'll probably end up doing is just a very, very direct, but with like understanding for this person, where I feel like right now the understanding is just like, hello, you have a problem and you're causing a lot of harm and you need to stop. So yeah, I think I'll be able to refine it some more over the next weeks, months, whatever.
Sure, yeah. And that's something you actually double down on, this idea that it's a sickness, right? Because you actually put it out there, the notion, the concept that speciesism is actually a mental illness, right? That was something you made a statement on. So I was.
Can I just touch on that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to
get
into this. Yeah.
When I said that, I wasn't aware that mental illness was such a specifically defined term. I was just trying to be general. It's a mental illness. Like, there's something wrong in your head for you to pay for innocent beings to be tortured and murdered when you're against torture and murder. I was just trying to be like, make a general statement. I didn't realize mental illness, it means this, and this.
Right.
And what I've tried to learn recently is, can it be classified as a mental illness? And based on the very narrow definition of those two words, I don't think it actually can. But what I've also read since is that certain psychologists and psychiatrists have wanted to make racism, very extreme levels of racism, classified as a mental illness. And they have reasoning, and this has been a discussion that's gone back and forth for however long. And there are certain reasons why they don't want to do it, such as people will use it as an excuse. Oh, I'm just mentally ill, I'm racist. So I don't know how much of it is political that we can't call it this way, and how much of it is just accurately, it doesn't fit into this definition. I don't know. What I was just trying to say is, hello, what you're doing is like sick behavior. Like, are you aware of what you're causing? And if you're okay with it, what is wrong with you? Something very, very serious. And generally it's probably, you know, a level of speciesism or maybe just believing, well, we need to just survive. Like that's when we find out the long list of excuses and objections and whatever.
I think I think the difference between yourself and maybe somebody else who's having these same thoughts and trying things out is that when you try things out and you get it wrong to 250,000 people, right? Or not wrong, or let's say you make, well, it could be wrong. Like in this case, like you know, maybe it was an incorrect way of putting it, but it's not like, it's very difficult to undo something like that because then it's already there, right? And the couple of thousand, maybe 100,000 people who see that maybe don't see the follow-up or maybe don't see this video. Like how is it living like that? It's like, I've not got as, you know, much of a platform as that, but I can't imagine, you know, it must be difficult to have these thoughts and try and put things out, and it must be, I don't know if I froze there, it must be difficult to have these thoughts and try things out and then, you know, have to handle the repercussions of maybe getting it wrong. Like how are you working through this? Do you have a strategy or a kind of a process of before you put something out that you test it and think, oh, wait, or are you just kind of like, well, I want to put this idea out and see what happens? Like how does it work for you?
That's a great question. So I could definitely be more careful when I post. That is one perfect example. You know, I could give it more thought. I generally try to run things by my wife and just like, what do you think of this post? If it's something I'm not very sure of. Sometimes I'm just like in the moment and just like, oh, and I'm just like, bam, and it's gone. And then later I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it's not a mental illness. I didn't realize, and you know, whoops. And there's other things I've done in the past where I'm like, oh shit, that was a mistake. I said that wrong, whatever. And you know, if people are gonna turn 7 years of activism and consistent good nature, good work, good results, good intentions, and throw it all away for a misuse of a phrase or for something they don't understand or for a rumor they heard, which people do all the time. It's literally like people have never used the internet before. It's crazy how much shit people believe and how much hilarious things I read about me online that are absolutely ridiculous. But my approach to that is just, this is the internet, this is how people behave, this is what happens. Okay, will I lose some followers? Whatever. Like, am I going to change what particular thing? But I'm still going to post, I'm still going to share, I'm still going to continue doing whatever I can to end the animal holocaust. And if I lose all my followers, or if I lose half, or if I gain, like, it doesn't really matter. It's not really, it's like, I'll just keep doing what I can do. And it's because after reading so much about me online and getting so much criticism, 95% of it from vegans. So I used to care a lot more. I used to be like, okay, vegans are saying this about me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. You know, I don't want like my community like saying all this about me. I should check in with myself. Am I this person? Have I turned into this person? You know, like, who am I? And I do some soul searching. And then I'm like, well, I'm not that guy that they think I am. I know who I am. These people are making all these crazy assumptions about me based on a whole bunch of lies. No wonder they think that about me. Like, am I going to spend all my days trying to tell them they're wrong? No, like, they're already vegan. I literally do not care about vegans getting to me. And that's why I just block them. You never see me blocking non-vegans, no matter what they say to me. Like, very rarely, like probably 20 or 30. But vegans, I don't care. If they're going to talk shit, I'm just going to be like, see ya. I never need to see you again. And you never need to see me again on social media. You're already vegan. I don't care about you. And I have better things to do than try to explain myself countlessly to people who are dedicated on like misunderstanding me, basically.
Definitely.
So I just, so to summarize that, I know who I am. I know my intentions. I know what I'm doing. I see my results. And unless someone who is like someone I look up to, who is getting better results, you know, or just someone I look up to who's getting great results or some results or whatever, like if there's someone that comes to me in the right way with the right concern, I'll almost always, if I have the time, engage and be like, hey, yeah, tell me more about what you think about what I'm doing. And okay, maybe I'll take that on, maybe I won't, maybe I totally disagree, whatever. But yeah, aside from that, it's just about knowing who you are. And if you're someone that you can be proud of, you know, if you're proud of who you are and you know you're doing your best, then none of that stuff should matter. You know, you shouldn't internalize any of it, the good or the bad. It's just like, thanks for the good, but I don't need it. And there's the bad and whatever. And that's pretty much how I deal with it.
Yeah, I've been through that exact same journey, man. And I think you probably remember one of the first times we spoke was me asking you, how do you handle this shit? And you told me block, and move on. And I was like, really? Is that what to do? Because, mate, when I was messaging you at that point, I was like, I was going mental. I was like, am I a racist? Am I actually a sexist? Am I a white supremacist? Holy fuck! Am I these things? I was freaking the fuck out, man. I was like, why not all these people? There wasn't that many people saying it, but they were saying it, right? And they were so confident in it. And you sat there and you think to yourself,
so you trust them a bit more,
right? And you're like, shit. Am I actually these things? I don't think I've never done anything to hurt anyone on purpose. And when I have, I've apologized and I've made it right. You know, I make mistakes, but really, am I these things? Am I like this bloody, some fucking Nazi out of a movie or something that you've seen on TV, and you're like, holy shit. And then, when you told me just block them, like, things got a lot easier after that, a lot more simple. Like, still people challenging me, but people that I trust. And that's how it should be, right? People you trust and people who have your best interests at heart and see you with good intentions. And they say, like, you're doing great things here, but hey, look, what about this thing? I don't think this is. And you're like, yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Keep me in check. But I don't need to be kept in check by these fucking goons who just want to look for the negative intent in everything you do, right?
There is a difference between criticism and constructive criticism, or someone helping you out. And you can read it instantly in the first sentence. Because what haters do, they ask a question, but they already think they know the answer. And they're just provoking constantly. And as soon as I see that shit, it's like, goodbye. You've lost your privilege of observing my page. You've lost your privilege of commenting here. You've lost your privilege. Goodbye. I wouldn't let you into my house. Why would I let you onto my page? I don't want you here. I don't want to associate with people as negative and foolish as you to believe every little thing you read on the internet.
Yeah, loaded questions. That's what they do. They load a question up so that you can either answer the correct way, which is the way they think, or you answer the incorrect way. They position it in a way that you're bad or you agree with them. There's no you disagree and you're good. You can't do that.
Like we do with street outreach.
Exactly. But that's
we actually
good.
know the answers, whereas these people think they know the answers.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But so with this strong new approach, this powerful new approach that you've cut up there, are you still there? You frozen?
I am. I can hear what you're saying.
With this powerful new approach you've taken, right? It's a more strong approach, and you've taken some backlash for it, taken some shit for it. But look, on the flip side of this powerful new approach has been actually something that I see as a little bit contradictory to the rest of the things you've been doing and saying, because you recently talked about baby steps, right? So I want to understand this, right? Because on one side you're like, this is fucking urgent, guys. It's a holocaust, it's rape, it's slavery. And on the other side you're like, well, I think I've been doing it wrong. Baby steps is good. For me, it almost seems like, let me give you an analogy before you answer this, because maybe this will help you see where I'm seeing it.
I understand already.
It's kind of like me. It's kind of like me calling up my Annie, my partner, and saying, Annie, you need to get here. It's so urgent. Fucking get here right now. But it's also cool if you take an hour. And I'm like, and then she'd be like, is it an hour or is it right now? And I'd be like, well, if you need to take an hour, you can take an hour, but I'd prefer it if you came right now. And she'd be like, well, it's not urgent then. I'd be like, well, it is urgent. Okay, so I get there now. Well, you could take an hour. And for me, it kind of like, I can't get my head around it. So I hope you can help me get my head around this.
Look, as I said in the video, this is my opinion, and I'm...
Oh, that's a bad time to cut out. We just lost you. We just lost you for like a little bit. It was the worst time.
So let me say this, man. I'm just me, just sharing what I believe after thousands of conversations about this. And like, I read every DM I get, and I always have. I've read every message almost, probably lost about 5 to 10% of them that I've ever gotten. Thousands and thousands. I've read almost every comment that I've ever seen on my every comment that's ever been there on my posts. I've read a lot, man. Like, it's all been study for me. It's all been like a big study of how do people respond to this, how do people respond to that, and I'm like so dialed in on it. So when I talk about the baby steps thing, even with, you know, my personal experience of approaching this, I'm totally open to being wrong and changing my opinion about this sometime in the future, and that totally could happen. It is what it is. It is a holocaust, and it's the worst thing that people are contributing to in their day-to-day lives by far, and any rational person with a shred of integrity and compassion should change immediately. And what I've realized is that the reason people don't change isn't because they don't agree with the vegan message. I have so many people who have been like, I totally agree with you, man. You're right. Like, I feel terrible. What do I do? I can't. Like, I don't know how to do it. And so that's where I'm more coming from, is like, what is most practical to achieving a vegan world? I think practical tip number one, call it what it is. Practical tip number two, give people many ways up the mountain to get to the top, and they can choose which one is most suitable for them. Because just genuinely, based on people's relationship in terms of addiction to food, in terms of their traditional and cultural meals and the settings they're already in terms of what's available to them, in terms of the amount of time they have to dedicate to shifting, you know, and I could probably go on and on. Like, some people just, or just their belief system, or their ability to, you know, their experience of trying to change things in their lifestyle in the past and failing, and them just having a very low standard of what they believe they can achieve. Like, there's so many factors. And that's why I tried to say in my video that obviously the best thing and what everyone should do is go vegan straight away. But I know in my experience, I didn't feel like I could do that. And I literally couldn't do that. It wasn't in me at that time. I needed to go through some shit. I needed to learn more shit. I had an eating disorder at that time, man. You know, changing my food was one of the hardest things I could have possibly thought about doing. As much as I wanted to. I'm eating ice cream at the time, and I'm hating myself. I'm just thinking about the cows. I'm like, I'm not even enjoying this, but I was addicted to food. So I'm just saying, like, there's so many factors. Obviously, be clear. This is what you should do right away. You know, what can you do? Where do you feel like you can do this overnight? Like, I can tell you exactly how to do that. And a lot of people, and I would probably guess the majority of people, because they've been doing this certain type of behavior for their entire life, and it's all they know and it's all they see. So I think that just in terms of practicality, what makes the most sense, despite what I want people to do, what I think will get them to be vegan and stay vegan as well, is taking a little bit of time so that they can see, this is something that I made that first step. Okay, that was easy. If they change everything overnight and they feel tired because they haven't replaced the calories that they were getting from animal products, or they're eating like I was putting cubes of uncooked tempeh into smoothies and not even blending them. I'm just like, this shit has protein. I don't even know what it is. I don't know where else to get protein right now. I'm drinking smoothies and chewing uncooked tempeh. Like, you know, people don't know what to do. And it takes time to learn some new recipes and some health information and getting the right calories. Like, it's just a bit of a process. Some people can do it overnight. Some people, the best thing for them, the best approach for them to get to the top of the mountain and stay there, stay vegan, I believe, and I think it's a fact, I would guess, is to take steps. Because I think it's going to be more sustainable. They're going to be able to do it in a way that excites them and makes them feel good about it. And they can, like, yeah, while still being like, you know what's wrong every day that you're not vegan, and they'll be like, I know, I'm really working on it. Like, the urgency can still be there, but you don't want to push someone too fast to the point that they're like, that's not for me. I couldn't do it. I felt so tired and sick. The food was bad, and then they're just put off from the experience and don't want to try it again. So it's just strategy, man. I don't think it's the best. Like, I wish it wasn't that way. I'm just trying to work with what I think I understand about human psychology, behavior change, and what I've seen in you know, the many discussions, etc., that I've seen.
Do you think there's an argument to say that they would take steps whether we tell them to take steps or not? You know, like they are. Yes. That's kind of one of my kind of ways of seeing it, is that if I tell you go vegan tomorrow, you're going to take 20 steps. If I tell you take 20 steps, you'll probably take 40 steps. I feel like people always go for the easier option of kind of what you tell them. Like, if you say to people, be an animal rights activist, they'll probably go vegan. And if you say go vegan, they'll go vegetarian. If you say go vegetarian, they'll reduce. If you say reduce, they'll do nothing. That's kind of the way I see it. That's kind of the approach I take. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? On that as a kind of as a different approach?
So my thoughts on that are, I understand what you're saying, and I have subscribed to that philosophy in the past.
Right.
Just similar to why I ask for reforms and changes of laws in factory farming, when if more people are vegan, they will change those laws, the industry will themselves, to make things more ethical, to try to keep some buyers. So why focus on those things? Just focus on a vegan world and those changes will happen anyway. Similarly, what you're saying is, why tell people that there's steps?
You've cut out there, man.
And what I'm saying...
Go again. So you said, why tell people there's steps, and it cut out. Why tell people
tell people there's steps? Just tell them to go vegan. They'll figure the steps out themselves. But I think what I'm suggesting is doing more than that and saying, go vegan. This is where you need to be.
Yeah.
But let's be honest here. Are you one of the people that's going to do that overnight? Possibly, probably not. And you can get a feel for each person. Right. Some people won't be that interested. So you just have to do something like, look, here's the goal. Obviously, I know it feels overwhelming. And I think as a good activist, you should help them on their journey, help them with steps. Because if they walk away being like, go vegan, nah, like I'm not doing that. But if they walk away going, go vegan, okay, maybe one day, but yeah, that seemed a bit too much. But buying almond milk instead of cow's milk, okay, I'm going to do that tomorrow. And then that one step leads to another step, almost always, because you've got momentum, you've got things moving. They did it. They feel better. They feel good about that choice. They're still thinking about what you said about veganism and everything. Yeah. And I think that's just a better, like, man, let me give you another example. I was a personal trainer for 7 years. If I told people, do everything that I can think of to make you a healthier person, they're just going to be like, okay, cheers. But if I'm like, all right, why don't we focus on this thing and on this thing? And here's probably 3 of the most important things. Because another thing with being vegan, man, is there's like 5 steps. It's so easy. Meat, dairy, eggs, the trace amounts of shit, and then clothing when you buy it, which is like once a year, once every 6 months. The products, like, okay, it's like, and don't go to the circus, you know? It's only a few steps, man. So if you can get someone taking 1 or 2, like, they're already almost halfway. And I just think that overall, it's a good addition to how to make people actually do something.
Okay, I can kind of see. Okay, I think we can reach like a point where we can agree on something solid here, actually, because there's something I've done actually in outreach before, which is along these lines, where someone said that, you know, they've debated, they've agreed that it's the right thing, but they don't know what to do, and then they talk about maybe they're going to go and get lunch now, and then I'll tell them, right, well, why don't you just go now and go get a vegan lunch as your first kind of, you know, introduction to this, or today, instead of buying milk, buy almond milk or something, and then go and see, and then go to the link I've given you. And it's kind of like, I'm not advocating for them to do baby steps as we refer to it, but I'm advocating they do fucking something today, right? And start learning by doing, right? Start doing it today. So yeah, I can get on board with that, because I've done that before.
I think it's very smart. And look, some people's first step might not be eliminating their consumption of animal products. Someone's first step might be watching a documentary, you know, like that's where it's up to you to be like, what do I think the best next thing for this person could be? They seem very addicted to cheese. Maybe we can start with meat. Or they seem like they've never seen slaughterhouse footage before. I'm going to get them to watch some slaughterhouse footage. You know, the first step on this line of baby steps.
I get what you mean. It's kind of what can you get them to do immediately?
Do something. If they're not receptive to being like, oh, I'm totally going to do this overnight, tell me everything I need to do. Most people aren't, bro. And as I said in my video, you know, I've asked this question at many speeches I've given to large crowds of vegans. Put your hand up if you went vegetarian.
I've lost you again.
People.
I lost you for like, you put your hand up if you're vegetarian or went vegan overnight, and then it cut right there.
Almost everybody didn't go vegan overnight. So obviously there is a huge amount to say about taking steps, because nearly every vegan did that. You know, and you could count a whole bunch of other steps in your life, I'm sure. Like I have steps of when I first connected to a bird and when I first thought about what would it be like to eat a dog instead of, like there's countless steps. So, anyway,
I'll
that's
get
about
you.
it.
Let's take a quick little break because we've got some super chats and some are actually really nice. Like this one, for example, Gawain says, "I'm thinking about giving up veganism and just becoming an animal rights activist." So that's pretty awesome. That's a really good thing. You should definitely do that.
Yeah.
Stay vegan, obviously, but be a vegan animal rights activist.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. Make your title an animal rights activist. That's something I think is a great segue into talking about animal rights, just in your typical day to day. Then someone says, "What do you do for a job?" Which is such a common question. You can be like, "Oh, I build websites and I'm an animal rights activist." And I wish every vegan would say that because that will always get a conversation started. You're ready to plant a few seeds, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. So, thank you, Gawain. I appreciate that. That's awesome. We got another one. We got another two actually. I just wanted to say you guys are right. Keep up your spirit because you light up ours. Love from Chile/Argentina. We fight as well along Boycott and other organizations. Activists here add me at Lava. Well, thank you so much for keeping up the fight. Boycott's an awesome organization. They do really good stuff over in like Latin America, like all in Spanish. It's really powerful stuff. We did some stuff with them in London as well. Some posters and stuff like that we stuck up, and they were like all over London. So that was sick. So thank you so much. And we've got one more. There you go, Maximil vegan, plant-based, plant-blessed. Says, "James, you make me vegan and I'm very thankful for that. I hope I can give it back to you one day. Stay strong. David, you make very cool content." Thanks, man.
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
Max. It's awesome.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks so much for the super chats, guys. I'm sorry if I've missed some, by the way. I've been trying to focus on the conversation. As you can imagine, the chat's going insane, so I'm trying to look at it.
I've seen some shit in that chat.
I warned you not to look at it, man. It's not good. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Mate.
So before we get on to another, like, we're gonna swap lanes soon, but before we do, I want to get into one more thing with you. I've never heard you speak about this, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. It's a debate within veganism, a good debate actually. This is a good one we should have. The Liberation Pledge. So I want to talk
videos on this with Wayne actually.
Yeah, I want to talk about it because for those that don't know, the Liberation Pledge is when you take a pledge not to eat at the same table where dead animal bodies are being served. So basically, you won't sit anywhere and eat with anyone who's eating meat, and you take steps to avoid it. You, for example, will pre-plan. You'll tell people, "I refuse to do this from now on, so please accommodate for me, or I won't come." If you're sat eating and somebody comes and sits next to you, it's kind of like you've taken a pledge, so it holds you accountable to say, "Hey, I'm sorry, could you sit somewhere else, or I'm going to have to move because I'm not comfortable with you eating that dead animal's body in front of me. I'm a vegan and I'm animal rights activist," or whatever you want to tell them. And it holds you accountable, basically. These are the reasons people do it, is that it holds you accountable to disrupt. You disrupt the normality of eating animals, right? That's the point of it. So as I said, I've never heard you speak about it. I saw a comment somewhere saying that you had spoken about it, but I don't know what that video was. I've not seen it. What are your thoughts on the Liberation Pledge?
Yeah, I've got a video with Wayne Shung on it, and we talked about it at Vegan Festival or something. Anyway,
cool.
My thoughts are that I think that's an excellent thing to do for certain people. I see a lot of good in it. You get a conversation started potentially. You show people how serious you are about this. You make people question their own consumption of animal products. You don't have to deal with, I just got an email, "Fuck you, stop comparing an actual Holocaust to the animal." I can read it. Wait, let me read. Oh, fuck it.
You're kidding me. That's insane,
God.
man.
Wait, I'll get up on my phone while we're chatting.
All right.
So crazy. So I let that load. So I think it's an approach. I think it's a great approach. And look, some people should probably take it because I've heard from a lot of vegans over the years that they sit at those tables and they're just depressed and angry. And another very real thing that we can do is push people further away from the idea of becoming vegan themselves. And sometimes a time that happens is at the dinner table when you can't really keep your cool, and you fight with your whole family, and then they just think you're crazy, So I think it's fine. I think it's better than fine. I think it's excellent. But I think people should weigh it up if it's best for them as an individual or not. I don't think the whole vegan movement should be doing it. I don't think the whole vegan movement should be doing anything, like everything. I want some people not calling it an animal holocaust. I actually wish it was this way, but I'm still glad that some people will be reaching certain people who think the same and understand, and that resonates with them. They're the type of vegans that resonate with those people. And like, I want every approach, every base covered. I think there's certain ones that work better than others, and that's just my opinion. When it comes to Liberation Pledge, for me personally, I think one of my skills is to bring these conversations up with almost anybody over almost anything and have a very fruitful conversation. So I think that overall I would be doing a disservice to the animals by taking that pledge, because overall I think I have a greater impact sitting with everybody and being like, have you ever thought about what that cow went through in order to become chopped up? Someone sent me an email saying, thank you for calling it what it is in this, and then the animals. It's so funny. All right, so I need to turn that thing off. So for me, I think that the best thing I can do is have the conversation, sit with everybody. Like, I seek it out. I'm like, mad, an opportunity to sit with someone who's going to I think just make your choice.
Oh man, you're cutting out a lot right now.
Maybe one day, you there?
You're back. Your voice is back. You're back now. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe one day I'll change my mind on that as well. I may go through phases with that and try it out. But currently, I see good success with what I'm doing. You know, people don't sit with me generally. Sometimes I think the best thing to do is to just say nothing. Like, it really depends. Every situation is different. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to be like, say nothing, and then later they're like, oh, you're vegan? And they can, everybody's different. Every situation is different. And that's why, like, being socially aware is so useful as a skill. But yeah, that's my answer, bro. I think people should do it if they want to do it and they've weighed up the pros and cons. And likewise, if you don't want to, there's also pros and cons.
Oh yeah, totally. I don't think of this necessarily. I hate what people do when these kind of things come up. They'll say things like, oh, you're not a real vegan if you don't do this, or you're not a real vegan if you do that, or with gray areas like the Liberation Pledge, which is a massive gray area. It's not like, I personally think that it is. I have said before that I believe it to be an obligation. I believe that it's something we should feel obligated to do, because if you're not going to find many people who are Westerners who would happily sit at a table with a dead dog, right? In fact, you'll probably find no people, almost no vegans who are going to do that, vegan or non-vegan, actually. But they would definitely do it if there was a cow or a chicken at the table. So for me, the way I see it when I talk to people about it, I'm like, you should really do it. But I understand, and I agree with you as well, that if you don't want to do it, you don't feel comfortable doing it, you don't feel like you're there yet, don't do it. It's not the most important thing here. You know, there's way more important things for you to be doing than the Liberation Pledge. But if you can do it, you feel good for it, go for it, you know?
Okay, I actually kind of disagree with your wording there. I don't think it's about if you're ready to do it or not. I think what we should do for animals is whatever we believe we can do that will cause the most positive impact.
Yeah. You cut out again, man.
Quite possibly myself. I'll probably never think that the best thing I can do for animals in these situations is to not sit at the table. I would be very grateful to sit at a table with someone eating a dog, because I would be like, yo.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I understand in that context. Yeah, if you're someone who is like confident and, you know, assured that you can speak up and you can do it properly, you're not going to lose your cool, you're not going to cause a problem, like a bad problem, as in they're not going to be like telling you to go fuck yourself because you've not approached it in a way that works. And then I guess it's individual, it's person to person, depending on what you prefer.
I don't think it's necessarily something we should aspire to. I think it's just an option that we can choose to do as one form of advocacy or not. And I don't think it would be a good idea for every vegan to do that. I think it's good that some do, and it just gets it out there, and this is a thing that happens, and it has direct potential benefits with those people. But also, I think overall, it's really, really important to sit with these people and make them be like, shit, this guy's vegan, I'm eating an animal, this kind of doesn't feel very right. And then this vegan had this whole conversation with me about it, and I felt like shit. And, actually, I'm not really sure if I want to eat meat anymore. And that kind of whole opportunity is missed if you're not there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, there's, like I said, pros and cons both sides.
Definitely, yeah. And I guess if it's speaking from yourself, from your perspective, I understand why you would sit there because you've cut out. Oh, wait till you're back. Yeah, so you're in your perspective, you're someone who is totally comfortable and happy to be disruptive in that environment and to say, hey, you're eating this animal, or you've got your thing together. I think unfortunately that's not not the majority of people actually aren't comfortable with that. So I think this is where the pledge comes in a very useful way, because the majority of people don't have the guts or the skill, let's say, to deal with that in an effective way. And then that's where the pledge is really good, because then you don't need to be skilled. All you need to do is say, hey, look, I'm not cool with this. I'm not going to come. It really bothers me. It's dead animals. I'm a vegan. And you can avoid the whole situation completely, which is definitely is very useful. So I think, yeah, I understand your point. And
Cool.
we're gonna change lanes, man. We're gonna switch the tracks now. We're gonna go on to onto a little bit of controversy, and we're gonna delve deeper into some controversies as well from there on.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna start with the Vice article, right? I want to get into this. I mean, it's not completely changing tracks, because we're talking about the animal holocaust, and this was about the animal holocaust, so we're still on the same track, really. But
Okay.
Vice article, the Australian media, the a lot of the British media in general, like Lad Bible they covered this as well. So, but the Vice article was what I see as like the ringleader of the shit. Like, they went extra in trying to like really, really rip out the ground from beneath you. I did my video breaking this article down because the writer was just the most one of the most, but she's one of those manipulative. The way she put the words in and the way she structured it, and it was really, really nasty is the word I would use, the way she did that. What was your expectation of it? I did watch your video, but like when you first got the invitation, right, and she emailed you or whatever, like what were you thinking? Did you have a different idea of how this was going to go, or did you know that she was going to do something like this?
I wasn't sure at first, and I didn't really care either way, because I just thought if I get a few of my quotes in this and the words animal holocaust get out there, that is a win to me. That is like just getting the discussion happening. I know that if that article gets shared somewhere, there'll be a bunch of vegans, there'll be a bunch of non-vegans questioning it, and there'll be a bunch of non-vegans against it. And whatever, the conversation happens, and that's so important, and something that is like one of my top goals. Get it on the table. So I was happy. I would have been happy either way.
Right.
When I look,
we lost you for a good chunk there. It was you were about to say when I looked at the article, I believe.
I looked up this reporter, which was before I responded to the article. I knew straight away what she was going to do. Like, her bio just told a very clear story of where this thing was going to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever. I'm going to make my responses so like hardcore, but honest, that if she puts anything of what I've said in, I'll be stoked. And that was just, in my opinion, my responses, what can you argue? Which is why I felt like her article wasn't arguing against it at all. It was just this totally other topic that I felt was just so ridiculous, when what we're talking about is a Holocaust. Yeah. And just to play those identity politics and just make a story up out of nowhere about like something silly. So I was still, though, extremely happy that it was posted, that it was published, and that the quotes that were in there, they were very strong. And you can't, like, I never expected it to be perfect, but it was still good.
Yeah, and something that she was nailing down on, right, and something she was really getting into. I don't know if she actually said this directly, but this is kind of what she was about, right? She was about this notion, this concept of this white veganism was basically what she was pushing in that article, and it's this. She mentioned this in the article actually. It's when white veganism is defined as basically this kind of healthy, fit white vegans that promote veganism unapologetically, right? Like you, like me. We are apparently white veganism. That's what we are. That's what we represent. And it's bad. It's a really bad thing. And apparently it's holding back animal rights, right? It's racist. It's bigoted somehow. I don't know, but it is. And I don't know if you know this, man, but you are seen as, for these people who talk about this, who believe in this, you are like the poster boy. of white veganism. They see you as like the like the like the evil kind of, you're like Satan to them, right? You're the white vegan master like thing. It's horrible, man. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but we're gonna get into it because I want to know, first of all, have you heard about this white veganism, and did you know that you are seen as this kind of evil poster boy of it?
Yeah.
You know this, right?
I mean, like, look, people say things to me like, you shouldn't say that, James, because some people just can't go vegan because they don't have the opportunity, which is why a lot of the time I say, if you can be vegan, you should be vegan. If you can't be vegan, you should be as close to vegan as you can until you can be fully vegan and keep striving towards that. People are focusing on the messengers instead of the message, which is just like, I can be whoever I want, do whatever I want in life, be the whitest white boy ever.
Yeah.
That is irrelevant, totally irrelevant. How I live my life, what I eat, where I go, what activities I do, what music I listen to, etc., is totally irrelevant. James Aspey is totally irrelevant to ending the animal holocaust and the animal rights movement. So I don't know why people keep wanting to make it about me. Focus on the topic. Don't talk about the messenger. Let's talk about the message. And that's why I don't know, they do it all the time. Talk about white, animal whites, animal white.
Yeah.
It's like, talk about animal rights for a change. But anyway, yeah, so I've seen it. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think there's any good arguments. I think it's just a lot of people, what's the word?
We've lost you.
Frustrations at the world at,
Okay.
and I personally think they're pointing it at the wrong people. There's a lot of people out there that are doing a lot of bad shit, and I don't think it's animal rights activists. I think all the animal rights activists I know, at least, like, you know, everyone's trying to do their best. No one's perfect. Sorry that I'm white, but yeah, I'm still going to talk about the animal slavery that's happening, even though I'm not black, and I'm still going to talk about the animal holocaust happening, even though I'm not Jewish, because it is what it is, and animals deserve a voice, and they can't represent themselves. So just because I'm white, I'm looking at, oh, I'm white, I shouldn't do it. You know, I'll just step back, someone else do it. Nah, we should all do it. And so I just think there's no good logic there.
Yeah, no, there isn't. And with the points, they say that I've had the same thing. I shouldn't say the word slavery. I shouldn't talk about the Holocaust because I'm not an ethnic minority, and I'm not Jewish. But then, just before we move on from this, I just want to make this point really clear that the slavery has existed since the dawn of man. You know, people have enslaved each other since way, way, way before modern society. So slavery, when we say slavery, it doesn't always have to mean the Atlantic slave trade. That's just the most recent version of it. There've been way more slaves in way more places, and also the same with the Holocaust. The Jewish Holocaust was the most famous, but there was the Armenian Holocaust, there was the Indian Holocaust. There've been many other Holocausts of humans throughout history, and hopefully there'll never be another one again. But the point is
Totally.
these identity politics that, oh, you're not Jewish and you're not black, so you can't say this. Jewish people and black people aren't the only ones to have suffered from these things. And you know, it doesn't matter. The identity doesn't matter. We're talking about the thing itself. We're talking specifically about these people.
Totally. Even if every black person said, don't call it slavery, the fact is a lot of black people call it slavery. And even if every Jewish person said, don't call it a Holocaust, I would still call it what it is, because it is what it is. And animals deserve to have their story represented accurately with powerful language to end what is happening now.
Yeah.
But a lot of Jewish people also agree it is a Holocaust. So people don't get to say, you can't say that and speak on the entire Jewish vegan community. No, who do you think you are? You've got your opinion, you don't want to use those words, good for you, whatever. You don't see me, you'll never see me talking shit about activists, ever. You never see it. You see a lot of people talking shit about me. I just let people do their thing. I wish everyone the best in their advocacy, even all the people who don't wish the same for me. I wish you all the best in your advocacy. I hope you're extremely successful in helping people go vegan. And if you don't like how I do it or how David does it, all good. We're just doing our best here and our intentions are good. But if you don't like it, all good. move on, do your own thing, no worries. Don't waste our time. We're busy trying to end this shit. Please don't waste our time. Just move on. Find someone you do like that you want to support, follow, whatever. And we'll continue getting on with our work.
Yeah, or you can make a load of videos and Instagram posts, focus all your time on attacking people like James. I mean, it's really whichever one you think's more successful, more useful for the animals, I guess. But
Yeah.
on this same note, right, on the same group of people, it's more or less the same group of people, these loud minorities, but I don't know, they're becoming less of a minority each day, which is really concerning, to be honest with you. But they also have this other narrative that there is a problem with vegans and animal rights activists, content creators, influencers, whatever you want to call yourself. I personally consider myself more to be like a content creator rather than like an activist per se. But they seem to have more of an issue now with people who are doing this having money, right? There seems to be a big no, like you can't have money. You're not allowed to have money. You have to be living in the most basic accommodation, eating out of tin cans, to keep the heating off if you're in a cold country because you should freeze. You can't be comfortable. It costs money. You should be, every single penny that you have, that it's not for comfort. All of it should be going towards whatever it is you're doing. They got this concept that and it creates this this notion that to be an animal rights activist means you have to basically make yourself poor and you have to be uncomfortable. And I don't know, you've been on the receiving end of this. Clearly the people are very angry with you about having money or spending money on things that they don't think you should spend money on. Where is this coming from, this issue with money, this issue with activists wanting to still have a nice life whilst being an activist? Why is that a problem, do you think, for these people?
Okay, there's so much to unpack there, but
Yeah.
let me say this. I don't have to do any animal rights activism ever. I don't have to talk about veganism. I don't owe it to the vegan community. I don't work for the vegan community. I don't work for vegans. Animals aren't employing me. Nobody is, okay? I do whatever I want in my life, just like everybody should have the right to do whatever you want, as long as you're not harming somebody. Okay, that's what veganism is all about. Now, whatever we do on top of that for good should be celebrated and applauded. Awesome work. There are literally trillionaires, multi-billionaires, millions and millions and millions of dollars in the hands of people who use it very poorly and in very negative ways. And that's just who they are, and they don't care, and that's that. Maybe they'll change, maybe they won't. What do people think animal rights activists like me, like you, would do if we had millions and millions of dollars? Do they think, and this is part of what they do think, like fake activists, for all these years, all the effort I put in, all the hours, all the debates, all the discussions, all the shit talk about me, all the documenting slaughterhouses, all of that was just so I could get some donation money at the end of it and then just throw it all away for a few $1,000 of donation money. If I had millions and millions of dollars, just like I'm sure any passionate vegan, any passionate animal rights activist, of course, what we're going to do with our cash is I'm going to do two things. I'm going to try to have an epic life for me and my wife and the people I love and care about and my friends, live it up. And two, I'm going to try to use that money to invest it in ending the animal holocaust, in doing lots of that is the heading of countless different topics and ways that money can help do that. It's okay to have money. It's good to have money. If you have money,
man,
vegans are poor.
You cut out if you have money. And then
if you have money as a vegan, look at the most famous people in the world, the most influential people in the world. They're influential because they got money. Money is power. So people looking up to all these people with 50 million followers on Instagram, what do you eat? I want to do whatever you do. What do you eat? They're up there because they're loaded with cash. Money is It's what everyone cares about. And if they're living a mad life, then people want to see it. They want to watch it. They're fascinated by it. And if they're like,
Oh man, we keep losing you, man.
have money.
We lost you again. They're fascinated by it, and then it cut.
All right. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, look, obviously money can help the vegan movement the animal rights movement in countless different ways. One of them, when we're talking about social media, if you are living a great life, a really great life, a life that most people can't live, you are going to attract vegans and countless non-vegans. Probably one of the best things you could do in terms of activism is get very rich and famous, live it up, and influence your tens of millions of followers to go vegan. That would be an excellent use of your time, in my opinion, if anyone could do that. I'm striving to do that right now. I would love to do that. It would be excellent. I'm sure I would reach way more people, 100 times more people than I do right now if I had a lot of money. And I was someone who people looked up to for that reason, which so many people who aren't vegan do look up to. Should activists be poor? Total opposite. We're doing shit work. We talk all day, every day, for free, most of the time, about rape and torture and cruelty and slaughter and murder and a holocaust and suffering and enslavement and slaughterhouses and blood and throat slitting. Well, fuck, it's a fuck job. And yes, we deserve money just like anyone deserves money. Where does it come from, all the backlash? I got a few ideas about that. Some people have been vegan way longer than me and been an activist way longer than me and really done a lot of amazing work. And unfortunately, it never came about that they were able to make money from their efforts. And that is a damn shame. And I wish every activist had epic amounts of money. Some haven't, and that might foster some negativity to people who have made it that way. Some people think that it's exploiting the animal rights movement, taking money from sanctuaries and to us instead. People are free to do whatever they want with their money. If people donate to me, if my followers and supporters donate to me, it's because they believe I'm doing a good job for the animals. They want me to be comfortable. Like, I can't tell you how many weeks I spent over the last few months researching for somewhere to live in Bali and in Australia that was in my price range, because almost nothing was in my price range. And so I'm trying to save $25 a week here and there. And I'm spending hours and hours on this every day for weeks. If I was a little bit more comfortable, I could have focused on a lot more productive things for the animal rights movement. This is a very small example. And, better equipment, better production team, so much. Huge campaigns. You could do huge campaigns if you had a lot of money. I've got massive ideas that I could never do unless I'm a multi-millionaire, which is why I'm working towards that. So the people who donate, they donate because they're like, okay, one way, yes, is to help sanctuaries. There's a lot of struggling sanctuaries. But maybe if I also invest in certain activists who may be able to do something with that money, good, like maybe even James Aspey will multiply his money and multiply and multiply. And I've been watching James for a long time. And my guess is he'll probably try to help the animal rights movement with his money. It's logical. I'm not going to be like, catch ya, I'm a millionaire now, adios, and not go back to eating meat or something. Like, fucking stupid. So
well, that's actually really nicely onto the next point with this. You mentioned how there's a lot of people that believe there's like a conspiracy they hear that they believe that, somehow that all of this work you've been doing has led up to this this one big donation ask, and that it's all kind of that you're throwing it all the way just to try and get money from people. Did you expect when you put this call out for donations, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever expect that it would lead to what it has led to with this insane amount of
Of course not, bro.
controversy?
My thoughts were, I barely ever asked for donations. I've had a Patreon for 3 years. I've posted about it 3 times. I never talk about it. I don't ask for donations. The only donations I've asked for over the years that I can recall, don't quote me on this, but I asked for them for animal sanctuaries a week prior to me saying, hey, if anyone has ever thought about donating to me and would like to help me out, now is the best time. A week prior, I raised $8,000 through my following for a place in Bali helping animals. And this is far from the first time. I've done this so many times over the years. helped sanctuaries, gone and done free speeches at sanctuaries, got everyone together, helped them all donate, donation at the door for a sanctuary, heaps of shit, so many things. So for me, I'm just like, hey guys, I have an opportunity here, huge opportunity. If you've ever thought about donating to me, now would be the best time. That was it. I wasn't expecting a lot of donations because even for the animals, I got, $8,000. Like, I didn't get that much money. I got a fraction of the money of what I invested. And people think, well, everything I invested was that. No, it was one or two posts about, yo guys, yeah, like something's going on right now. If you want to donate, I'm going to do what I feel is good for that money to hopefully do some good shit for the animal rights movement. I have an opportunity here. Maybe it won't work out. Like, yeah, sometimes things don't work out. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm just desperate. I feel a lot of urgency. And when opportunities come to me, I try to take them. It was an opportunity. I'm like, yo, opportunity came up. Anyone want to donate? Feel free. Appreciate it. Donations came. And then everyone started going on and on about, I wasn't transparent. I don't have to be transparent. I don't have to tell you anything. If you don't want to donate with the amount of information I've given you, then don't. It's not up. I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you later, even though I did, what I did with the money. I choose to. I choose to give you the information. If that's not enough for you, don't donate. I'm not a charity. I'm just a person.
Yeah.
And the people who donated, my guess was the people who trust me. Otherwise, why would you donate to me? And this is proved because when I said, guys, look, there's a lot of talk right now about people not happy with what I did with the money. Now, look, the money's mine. You gave it to me as a donation, and I'm doing what I feel is good for it. But even still, because that's my right to do what I want with donation money, because I'm not a charity. I don't have to. I never said I was going for anything other than like anything. I was like, here you go. This is what I want to do. My goal is obviously to multiply my money so that I can do more things as an activist.
Yeah.
But even still, I said, guys, if anyone's not happy now that you know what I did with the money, no worries. Let me know. I don't want it if there's bad vibes at all. Take it back. Please just let me know. 2 people out of about 150 donations, roughly, 2 people said, yeah, James, I'd like the money back. One of them said, dude, I trust you heaps. It's all good, but actually I could just do with having that money back. And I was like, okay, no worries. And I was like, $20. Oh, no, it was $100 actually. It was one of the larger donations. I was like, no worries, man. All good. No bad vibes. And then one other person was like, actually, there's 2 other people who were just like, I feel a bit uncomfortable. I'm like, all good. There you go. There it is. Have a good one. Thanks anyway. That was it.
Yeah, man. And I think a lot of the confusion and what's caused a lot of the, I don't know what you call them, I don't know, haters, let's say, to go off on these investigations where they're going to try and figure out what's going on and put 2 and 2 together and make 5. It's come from a little bit of a confusion maybe around 1 or 2 like a couple of things on how you've put it out there, I think has confused a few people. And I think maybe clarifying a few of these things could be useful for anyone that's watching who wants to understand what the hell's going on, right? Because I don't want to appeal to people who are going to hate you no matter what. That's not what we're here for. There's no point. People hate me. People hate you. There's a lot of them in the comments. There's people in the comments right now who I know hate my fucking guts. By the way, I've seen one of them. I don't know why she's here, but they hate me. But they come anyway. Right, this is not for them. This is for the people. I'm asking this question for the people who want to understand and they want to have good intentions, right? But there were I'd say 3 main things that I want to get into. One being that.
I'm sorry to stop you, but I'm just reading a few comments. I just want to respond to one guy.
Oh, man. I said don't read the comments, man. I knew this was going to happen. I warned you.
Just say this. He said, I support you as an activist. And he does. He comments on every single one of my YouTube videos. But your lack of transparency is a serious problem that you really ought to introspect much more on peace. No, it isn't, Lewis or Louis. I don't have to be transparent with donations. I am not a charity. I'm not a registered charity. I'm a guy who has done a lot over the years, who some people trust. And I say, guys, if you want to donate, that'd be awesome. That's it. I don't owe anyone anything, any explanation with what I did with the money, any reason why I needed it. I don't owe any transparency. I never said I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on and didn't come through with a promise that I made. Nothing like that. So You're incorrect, brother. I don't need to consider more about transparency. It's my choice how transparent I want to be. Totally my choice. It's not unethical what I did. And it's people's choice whether they want to donate based on my level of transparency or not. If not, all good. If they want more transparency, hang on. Bro, can you say I'm busy? And if they want transparency, then you don't donate. That's it. You don't get to say, well, I didn't donate, but I want more transparency from you. Or I did donate and I want more transparency. I never offered it. And that's about it. I don't really know how much.
No more comments, man. I promise you don't want to do it.
It'll
derail you. It'll derail you, man. It derails me.
People here making me laugh though, bro. I'm not doing it. I'm reading the whole time.
Right, so look, right, three quick things I want to get into. As I said, not to try and please any haters because you're not going to please them, but more for the people who are watching who want to understand. First thing,
okay, go for it.
When you put out when someone, like, for example, if I put out a message right now saying, guys, donate to me, I need your donations, because of how they know me and who I am and what I do, automatically, even if I don't say this, they automatically assume that I'm doing it for some kind of project, some animal rights project, some rescue, some sanctuary, right? And if I don't tell them what it's for, they assume that, right? So you see how that for me, that would cause me a problem if I then went and said I was doing it for something that was indirectly linked to animal rights, but let's say it was an investment that was not directly related. It would cause me a massive problem, the same way it's caused you a massive problem. Is that something like, now looking back, did you consider that at all, or now do you consider
No, I don't, because the only people that have a problem with it are the ones who didn't even donate, and they're just making a problem out of nowhere. If any of my donors have a problem, cool, no worries. If it's no good for you, take your money back. People don't get to tell me how I do my job and how I live my life. I do what I want, and I don't have to answer to anybody or do things in a certain way. So I've proven myself, I believe, or at least to my donors, which are the only people who really count in this conversation, I would say. Yeah. I've obviously proven to them that they trust me enough to donate. What I do with it, a lot of them have said, do whatever you want, bro. Do whatever. Like, if you want to do something fun and mad, sick. Who cares? All right. But on top of all of that, almost everything I do, I'm trying to think about how I can do activism, how I can be better all day long. And consistently talking about and doing animal rights activism in so many different ways, doing hundreds of free speeches, going all over the world trying to rally crew together. Like, people who know me, know me. People who don't, they have their thoughts about me, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about those people. And so my money went to an investment that I believe my investment's already doubled, man. My investment money is already.
You cut out. Sorry, man. You cut out.
It was good. My investment already doubled.
Okay.
And I'm expecting more multiplication of my money.
All right.
If people think that none of this money is gonna see the animals, I don't know what else I can do, bro. I try to show them I care. They just don't believe me. What am I meant to do?
You've just given so many people a screenshot for a meme. You know that, right? They're gonna take that. So fucking many. All right, listen though. Like one more thing to cover off before we leave these kind of more shitty questions for do something better. Right. So this.
Wait. I got another. Free speeches at 10 grand each. Sorry, dude. I could get lost here. This is the last one for now. There's a rumor going around that I charged $10,000 for 30 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Out of probably 400, and I think I'm probably lowballing speeches I've done, I think I charged for about 4, maybe 5, and I don't believe I've ever charged more than $1,000 US for an hour and a half of my time, plus spending a whole weekend at a festival. Maybe I charged a little bit more. If so, it was like maybe once, and out of all the speeches I've done, I think I've charged for 4, only at for-profit events where people are making money from me being there. That's it.
Yeah.
So whatever. This rumor going around is just a fucking rumor. Anyway.
Mate, that's the industry. That's the industry. Doesn't matter if you're talking about animal rights, if you're talking about fucking movies. It doesn't matter. If you're bringing people to an event and they're paying tickets, you should get paid for that event.
Exactly, dude. One other thing, even if I did charge that, I'm allowed to work for a living. Like, that's a right we all have. If I want to charge for my time, you're so used to me doing it all for free. If I want to charge for my time, that's my right. Just like you charge for your time and your boss or whoever pays you. I'm allowed to put money on my time, which is valuable. This is my life that is draining away every day, you know? And so whatever, if I did want to charge 10K for 30 minutes and I can make that money, mad. That's mad. Good stuff. Who cares?
It's insane that people would expect you to talk for free at a for-profit event. I don't get that. It's a for-profit event.
I've done it a million times and I'm happy to, bro. Like, you know, I've wanted to get out there, but at this point now, because so many people invite me to do speeches and that, I've got to a point where I'm like, look, to help me do more not-for-profit work later in the year, this is a for-profit event. I expect to be reimbursed some amount. People think I'm asking for first-class flights and all this cash. Never. I'm like, just cover my expenses and, you know, maybe $1,000 would be good. I never got first class or business class ever until just the other day when I was first gifted business class flight, and that's it.
Yeah,
anyway,
all right, there's one more thing, mate. Stop! I can see you looking at the comments, man. Close that shit. I'm telling you, it'll drive you wild. It'll drive you insane, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're back now. Cool.
Yeah, I'm not looking anymore. Me and you. What's up?
The one other thing that I wanted to cover is that all right, so there's the other thing flying around that I wanted to cover, and again, I'm not doing this for any haters to please anyone. Yeah. We're doing it for the people that are confused and wanting to understand. So there's been 2 responses you've given to 2 comments. One was that, you know, someone asked you, is this money that your donation money going to an investment in cryptocurrency in Panama? You're going to go over there and do that, and you'd said no. And another comment.
Well, let me start with that one.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay,
so what happened with this?
Well, I'm a very literal person. I'm very careful with the words I choose to use and the words I read. I answer literally how it's asked to me. So the question was, are you going to Panama to invest in a crypto scheme? Right? No, I had invested my money, 95% of it, before going to Panama. So no, I wasn't going to Panama to invest. And that was me honestly answering that question. Did you go and do this? Nah.
Man, we lost you. We lost you for a minute. Did you go and do this? No. And then it cut.
That is the truthful answer to the question they asked me. Did I go to Panama to do it? No. Am I in Panama regarding cryptocurrency, learning more, getting educated, understanding more shit about it, understanding more about my investment? Yeah. But did I come here to invest? No. And that is the question they asked me. So that's the question I answered.
That's cheeky. You know that's cheeky though, right? You know damn right that's cheeky.
Yeah, like that's they asked me a question that they wanted that question. They should have asked more broadly. Are you going to Panama to do anything related to cryptocurrency? Maybe it's a question they should have asked.
All right.
I don't care, bro. Like I don't owe these people explanations. Who do they think they are? I don't owe them shit.
I think that's the vibe I'm getting as well. Is that you're just kind of like, I get it. You get to a point.
Who are these people? Are they paying my bills? Am I their slave? Yeah. Are they my boss? Like, who are they? They don't deserve the information to my life if I don't want to give it to them. Even if I did like David, okay? So yeah, I said no because who is this person asking me personal questions about my life? Like, I lied to them. Not that I did, but even if I did, so what?
All right, the other one, man, and this one, I guess I don't know. You explain this one for me, and then we'll move on. There was someone that said, "Is money going towards ending the animal holocaust?" Oh wait, you've cut out again. We lost you. 1 second.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah. Cool. Someone had said, "Is this money going towards ending the animal holocaust?" And you'd said, "Yes, it is." And then, obviously, like it turned out that it was for the investment. Which in your eyes, I suppose, means it is going towards ending the animal holocaust more eventually. So is that kind of what you were getting at when you said yes, it is?
Two things. So someone said, "Is this money going?" Sorry, do you remember what the?
There was it was like someone was like, "Is this money going to the ending the animal holocaust?" You said yes, it is, and then later on, I think you said, "I never said it was."
Right.
So it's kind of like a conflict.
Yes, I can explain this easily. So when I first asked for donations, my words were, "Yo, I need money urgently. I'm selling my van." And if you've ever thought about donating to me, now would be the best time.
Yeah.
And then, so that's what I was referring to when I was like, I didn't tell people it was for that. I responded to hundreds of comments, bro. And one of them was like, "Is this money going to something animals?" And my response was like something about, ending the animal holocaust, which is like what my whole life revolves around in some way or another. And so my reason for responding that way is two things. One, because I just started getting this conversation started about the animal holocaust. And I just wanted to like put those words out there again and be like, yo, this is what it is. Just for a reminder, everybody, let's talk about this. Let's normalize calling it this. That was part of my intention. And my second part of my intention was like, yeah, it is. If I make 10 million bucks, you can be sure, well, believe me or don't, but what I will do is like as much good as I can to do some mad shit that I think is right for the animal rights movement. I have great ideas. I have big ideas. I don't know how great they are. I don't have the money to be able to implement them and like put a team together to see if I can make it work, but I have some big ideas. So I was, again, just trying to answer the question. Honestly, people like, no, you didn't. You invested it in crypto just for you. You're going to use 100% of every dollar you will ever own only for you. And I don't know why people would think that when I have spent so much time, so much of my life invested for the last 7 years, every day invested in helping the animal rights movement. Why would people think I wouldn't also use some of my money, which I have many times. I've used my own money many times to get to speeches, to pay for animal rights things, like heaps of shit. So, So anyway, to answer the question, get the conversation continued, the animal holocaust. And also because, yes, whether directly or indirectly, my goal is to use money to etc. I'll explain.
Can I ask, this one's more like in hindsight, but you know, what was the intention? What was the reason, right? Rather than, do you wish that you'd have just gone in, right? You're going to put your life savings into this, right? Yeah. Looking back now, do you wish you just never asked for the donations and just gone and put your savings in and just fucking did it without this? Like shit, man.
No.
It caused such a shit show.
Oh, it was ridiculous. No, not really. Like, I don't regret anything. I'm sure it's all meant to be, bro. I really believe that kind of thing. It helped me block a lot of people who I don't want to associate with on social media at all. I don't want to see them. I don't want them to see my stuff. If they want to see it, they'll have to create new accounts. That just says a lot about who they are. And there's a lot of people. And there's a lot of people like, James, you blocked me. Please, sorry. I'm like, nah, you already blocked now. You've lost it. It's been hilarious. I'm like, I'll unblock you, but you have to start a group saying, James Aspey, please unblock me. And then you have to state a case for why I should unblock you if you want that. Anyway, I was just joking though, but kind of. Fuck, I forgot the question, bro.
It's all right.
I remember. Do I regret it? Nah, I don't regret it. In hindsight, like, was it worth it in terms of monetary? Like, as I said, it was a very small fraction of my investment, what I got in donations from those 2 quick posts I did. You know, I didn't make a whole campaign about donate to me and do it for 6 months. It was like, yo, quickly, anybody, you know, if you want, like, that'd be appreciated. I didn't get that much money. Like, people think I got 250K. Okay. Anyway, so that's about it, bro. I don't regret it. It helped. There's a lot of positives from it. And one thing that happened was it just took me to another level of not caring about the opinions of others, not, you know, trying to work for the vegan community as if they own me and they deserve my responses to their questions. And it just made me feel more free, which has happened many times in different ways over my career as an activist. One of the things, and this is where the first time I think I saw one of your videos was a conversation Gary Francione had like Skyped in at a little festival or whatever. And you grilled him on a couple of things. I actually can't remember because I watched it years ago, probably.
Oh, man, it's years ago. 2018, man.
2018, right. So I don't even remember what the conversation was. But this is like side topic to everything we just started talking about. But Gary Francione, when I did the cycling from one side of Australia to the other, this is in my first year as a vegan. It was when I was just starting to understand there was like a animal rights versus animal welfare thing happening. And so I downloaded, my mate actually hacked his website or something and downloaded like every single audio that has ever been on the internet of Francione.
Right.
Something like that. I don't know what she did. Anyway, and I listened to it constantly. Like I was on the bike for hours a day and I was by myself going across the country and I just listen until I got off that.
You cut out, man, until
I got
got
off that bike with a totally different mindset about animal rights.
Yeah.
And so then I started trying to advocate in a very Gary abolitionist way. As soon as I started talking about it, fuck, you froze again, bro.
Yeah, you're back now.
Right. And then and all the abolitionists like writing me essays like, you should do it like this, you should do it like that. You know, say it like this. I'm like, all right, I'm trying. I can't say the word suffering. You know, I can't say this, I can't say that. Fuck, this is hard. And then, but I'm trying to be a good vegan and be a good activist and okay, like I think this approach makes sense. And then one day I shared one of Gary's videos, his speech. It's called "The Veganism is a Moral Imperative." Right. I think it was that. And and I was like, I shared it with a caption, another way to think about animal rights, because I know a lot of people don't think about it in this way. And I'm just laughing at the comments.
Close that shit, man. I'm telling you.
No, so anyway, and I said, here's another way to think about animal rights. And someone in the comments wrote, I don't really like his approach, James. I like how you do it. Or I like you better, or something like that. And I responded to that saying, well, it isn't really, I said, I don't necessarily like him either, but it's his approach that I think we should be talking about here. What I meant by that is I don't necessarily like him. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Who cares, right? But he got so pissed at that, and his followers. They're writing me essays. How can you say this about Francio? Oh, and he's on there like, you just look like you're pandering to your female audience. And I'm like, bro, no, you're my hero, man. I'm like, this is a speech. I posted your speech on my page. What's happening? My hero's hating on me. I didn't even know we would get to speak one day, Gary. Like, wait. And I was like, oh, I can't believe that happened. And then after that, I was like, whoa, I'm so free. I don't need to do it like Gary does it. He's got his way. That's mad. And I appreciate and respect a lot of his style and his work and all that. But I'm unique and I've got my own thoughts about what's effective activism. And I'm going to do it my way. And I don't have to fit into the abolitionist approach box. And it was very freeing. And so to come back to what you asked me, I feel more separate from the vegan community in a way, online community. And I think that's a good thing because sometimes I do feel like I'm not doing exactly what I think might be the best form of activism because I know that they're going to judge it and not understand it and question it and talk shit. And sometimes that just can get a bit much, especially if you care about what your community thinks. But now I've just got to what I would say is a pretty epic level of not caring about their opinions. And, you know, I still respect and appreciate people's advice and suggestions, etc. But in terms of the criticism and this and that, I've really just come a long way from this experience of just going to another level of whatever. I'm just doing my thing and I don't care if I lose another 30,000 followers. I don't care if everybody's talking shit and there's a whole campaign to sue me and whatever, all the things that are happening. Cool. I'm still doing my thing. I know my intentions are good. I see the effects I'm having and that's it.
No, I get you. It was it was a long way to get there, but I totally get it. And the Gary thing, by the way, it was similar to what you said. The reason we were having a debate was that I was asking him why he thinks mocking other activists is good for animals. And he couldn't answer the question. He mocked you, he mocked me, he was mocking AV, he was mocking Paul, he was Paul Bashir, he was going after everyone. And I was like, okay, how you're the abolitionist, you're the one that's supposed to be teaching us how to do it. Tell me how this helps animals. No answer. And I was like, that's all good, Gary. Tell me how it helps animals. And then he was like, well, AV doesn't help animals. And I was like, no. Tell me how mocking us helps animals to answer the question. And that was the video, man. That was a real big disappointment for me. Because I also liked him. I also looked up to him a little bit until he started doing that. But we've got a super chat here, by the way.
It was a shame.
From Jamit. Love from Melbourne, Australia, by the way. Super chat.
To
put it on the screen before we lose it. I'm so sorry if I've missed some super chats, guys. I'm really trying to focus and it's difficult. There's so much nonsense in the chat, so I'm so sorry if I'm missing them. But thank you so much for your contributions. It really makes a difference and helps me out. Look, man, we're gonna punch deeper into some stuff here. I want to talk about crypto, and I want to talk about specifically one of the main things, one of the main concerns that's been coming up from both people. Unfortunately, people who hate you and people who actually love you have also had the same concern, right? That's why I'm bringing it up, because we're not gonna, like I said, we're not appealing to the haters here. We're appealing to people that give a shit about you and actually want to help, right? So first of all, we've got a really nice super chat here.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah. This is a donation, so you do whatever the fuck you want with it. If you decide to wipe your ass with it, that's part of the risk to donate to an individual. Thank you, Monstar. I'm not going to wipe my ass with it. It's most likely going to go towards... right now, actually, what I'm trying to do is get better gear. So that's probably where it's going to go towards. I've just invested in a green setup so I can do some more, really good skits and comedies, and also some more powerful videos with a green screen. So that's going to go towards that. So thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That's very funny. All right, so let's dig deep into this situation then. So one of the main problems, one of the main concerns coming from, as I said, people who actually really want to support you and people who don't, is that that there's something that about Randy, all right, your mate.
What about
yeah. I'm sorry to bring him up. I don't know him, and I don't like talking about him like this because I don't know the guy, right? But they're saying that he is some kind of con man. They say they're worried that he's conning you, that he's convinced you to get your followers to invest in this coin, and because then that's going to get you and him some money. And they're calling it like he's managing a pump and dump scheme, right? That's what they're saying. They're claiming, and that's basically what apparently they're saying, that he's invested loads of money into this, right? He's brought you on board. He said, right. If you can, well, that's this is the clue. Right? They're saying that you've gone out there. He's got you to convince your followers to also invest in it, so that he makes a massive return. You make a return that's not as good as his, and the followers make a return that's really minute, or some of them don't actually get any return on it. This is what they're claiming. This is what a pump and dump scheme is, and they're saying that Randy's the head of this. He's the master of all of this, and he's playing you and he's playing your followers. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it.
Randy is fucking legend, mate. I'd love to make Randy a little more famous right now. So obviously no one's perfect, bro. Like, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect. These haters are far from perfect. And neither's Randy. He's he's got his things just like we all do. But one thing that Randy has is a heart of gold. I've known Randy for, I'd say, probably 5 years. I met him when I was doing activism in Canada, in Victoria, and also in Vancouver. And we spent a few days together. We traveled a bit together. He came up to me after a speech I did. He was like, yo, da da da. And he was a big built bodybuilder. And he just seemed like a cool guy. So I was like, cool, let's hang out. I've got all this activism coming up in Vancouver over the next week. So he's like, sweet, I'll come. Because I was rolling solo, I believe, at the time. Anyway, so he does a bunch of actions, whatever. And he's just cool. And one of the things I told him was, dude, Vipassana meditation, like veganism is for the animals and Vipassana is for us. It's game changer. And yeah, he said, yeah, I'll do it one day. So anyway, we keep in contact over this, and all I got from the guy was good vibes, like the whole time. I could just see he was very sincere, good heart. We kept in contact over the years, and yeah, his problems are that, well, I don't want to talk about his shortcomings. There's nothing too serious. Right. But it's just like a couple of, things that come with being such a big, energetic being, like with a very fast working mind and a huge amount of energy and passion and just trust. And yeah, he's just who he is. And anyway, so he tells me one day that, I can't, and he's come from a dirt hole, bro. Like, he literally grew up in a dirt hole. He's got videos of it.
Where's he from, by the way? What's his?
He's from Canada.
Oh, okay. Oh man, sorry you cut out here again.
Yeah, he's from Canada. Oh my god, he's from Canada.
All right.
I'm sorry, I'm reading shit. He's from Canada, and he's come from tough life situations, mate. Anyway, he does this Vipassana. He's like, dude, it saved my life. I was at the lowest point of my life, and it saved my life. And he's just had so much shit happening to him over the years. And anyway, over the last, and we've stayed in contact, and we call each other now and then. He's always just so supportive, biggest fan. and not in like a crazy way, just in like, dude, I know you, I know your heart, you know, just keep going. You're doing so good. And he's done a bunch of disruptions and a bunch of cubes, and like, he's badass. And he's so into the animals, man. Like, you should see how he is with his cats. He's like obsessed with his cats. They're super cute, but he just loves them. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about this, but bottom line, can I trust Randy? I mean, I don't trust that many people in my life, and I could be wrong about Randy, but I've spent the last 3 weeks. First of all, I spoke to him on the phone. I'm like, dude, I've noticed you're doing well in life. You know, what's going on? And he's like, dude, I've been studying so much. And when Randy studies shit, like it's the shit that I would never want to learn. It's the most boring, dry information, but it's the shit that can be really useful in terms of with the body and how the body works. And like, he just knows certain things about a lot of things about certain topics that he's interested in. So he got interested in cryptocurrency. So then we started talking about it. Through him, I start meeting some very influential, powerful people, etc., etc. I make some meetings happen. Randy's like, you know, part of like, we're just talking as homies.
Right.
Then I start making some moves, and my money doubles. My money is doubled. It was over double yesterday if I wanted to pull out, but I'm in this for, you know, however long. Like, it depends on a lot of things. So if Randy's conning me so bad, and Randy's, you know, like, look, I don't want to say too much about Randy, but Randy wants the animal rights movement to succeed. He wants vegans to succeed. That's why he's helping people in this group for free. He cares about people. People probably can't recognize that because they maybe don't care that much. Like, I don't know what their problem is. People just quickly jump to conclusions. Randy is one person who I'm getting advice from, on top of a couple of other people who I know I can trust because, like, they make amazing moves and they have the bank balance to prove it and the reputation to prove it. Now, what else do I want to say about this? I spent the last 3 weeks with him every day, getting to know him. And my conclusion from this time, and I could be wrong, but is that he's a very, very good guy, very trustworthy person, not perfect, just like anybody, but he would never deliberately do the wrong thing by somebody. And he might make a mistake and something happens, but deliberately, no. And anyway, I'm not putting all my faith into just Randy, as I've said. Randy, I trust, just like anybody, to a point. And I trust him a lot, more than most people I know. But only to a point. I'm still making my own decisions, and I still have other people advising me. Now, thanks for your concern, anybody who cares. I appreciate it. But guys, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Like, most people, instead of being concerned, they're just like hating on Randy. Slandering Randy, talking shit, just saying he's definitely doing this, he's a scam artist, da, da, da. It's like, guys, you don't even know him. You've never even spent a second with him. What is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? Just give people the benefit of the doubt until they show otherwise, is my approach at least. And I think that would be kind. And yeah, like, whatever. People just so quick to point fingers.
I think it's hard for people to do that in today's world, and it's a sad thing that we do judge each other now based on, you know, what we post on Facebook or whatever. And that with Randy, I think a lot of your actual people that, like, you know, want to support you and want to be on board with what you're doing, they've shown some concern because, like, look, I don't know Randy again, and Randy, dude, if you're watching this, like, please. Nothing against you, mate. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of what the fuck is going on. All right, please don't take any of this in a bad way. I don't know you. I hope you're doing all right, man. But you know, dude's shared quite, you know, a few pretty mad things, right? On his public Facebook, it's like public stuff as well. You can see he's talking about, you know, the people, celebrities who drink children's blood, conspiracies, and how Trump is going to stop that. And so, you know, people are concerned because they see that you're you know, growing up with this dude who, like, seems cool and all, but then he's posting this kind of stuff, and they're worried about you, that you might get dragged into something like this, and that maybe he's not all there, and like, so you see where the concern is,
well, I guess if people are genuinely concerned or they just want something to talk about, look, there's probably a bunch of things that Randy believes and thinks that I don't agree with, just like probably every person on the planet. He went through a time where he was, you know, he went down the YouTube conspiracy rabbit hole. Like, I've been there a few times. There's a lot of crazy shit on YouTube, and some of it seems very convincing. Does he think that way now? I've talked to him about it. He's like, look, I don't know. Like, there's probably we know for sure there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of dark shit that happens on this earth. But that's not really my focus right now. I'm focused on this. And I'm like, cool, let's just focus on eyes on the prize. Let's try to multiply our money. Let's try to do good. His other views on other things, is kind of whatever.
No, I feel shitty even bringing it up, but I just wanted to kind of like, clarify as to why some people are a little bit funny. Support you, but don't support him. I think that's a large reason to do with it. We got some super chats, by the way. Totally. Loving this chat. Donate to James too. Fine with the money being used for James to get rich for the animals.
Hell yeah, Jenny.
Thank you.
I appreciate
so much
your support. I've always felt that when I've seen you at actions and out and about and talked online, there's always been a level of mutual respect. I have a lot of respect for you and the activism you've done. And I feel like, despite all the things that go around about me, you have always seemed at least to see my intentions and who I am. So I really appreciate that of you. I appreciate, obviously, your donation. Thank you so much. And yeah, of course, I'm going to try to get rich for the animals. Like, I think that a lot of good will come of that. So thanks heaps, Jenny.
Thank you. And we have more. We have a super sticker, which I can't see. I'm sorry, but thank you so much. Regardless.
Okay, let's talk about Stefania. I think this is the person. She's famous on Instagram, famous on probably TikTok and that as well. She's got like millions of followers. And she, very grateful, started talking about the animal holocaust. And she's been getting a lot of backlash for it, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to follow her and get in on the conversation in her comment sections, there's a lot to say. There's a lot of retaliation from her doing that.
I just found her account now. Damn, that's awesome. With a million followers talking about animal rights, it's amazing.
Totally,
that's incredible.
Doing a great job. But she needs support for sure.
And we got Sharon. It says, "Love you, James. Keep going."
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Really appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. We have another one. We have a super sticker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vegan Lin Cat.
Thanks, Vegan Lin Cat. I've seen you defending me in the comments. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Perfect. Awesome. Let's just wait. How do I? Oh my God, I've lost it. I need to close it. All right, cool. Now let's move on. We're staying in Panama. You and Randy, one of your recent things that you did together, which I saw some really nice videos from on your Instagram, but obviously didn't quite turn out as we'd expected it to, was with this sanctuary you visited, right? And it looked. I'll be honest with you. When I saw the videos, I was like, wow, it looks like a really nice place. The animals seem happy. They seem very friendly, and I, like many people, were like, yeah, this seems really cool, because I've actually been to India, to animal sanctuaries in India, and in India it's very similar. The animals come out and they jump on you, and there's some of them are very friendly. They live there for their entire lives. Cool. These aren't rehab centers in India. Most of the time, the animals go there injured and they stay there forever. So I thought this was this kind of place, but it didn't quite turn out that way, did it? So like, I was curious to know, like, how did that go in the end? Because I saw your last video on this where you were explaining how you weren't sure. What was the conclusion of that situation?
Okay, so I don't want to talk about this too much, but I'll say this. I went to a place under the guise that it was a rescue rehab facility. I don't know any different because I'm not a wildlife carer. So for me, I'm just like, yeah, sanctuary is a sanctuary. At every other sanctuary I've been to, I'm petting animals, hanging out with the animals. I go to this rescue rehab place. I'm told a bunch of stories. Later, I find out by reading my comments and by doing more research that, is this a rescue rehab or is this a zoo? Do these animals actually get released, or are they just kept here? Is this person running this place trustworthy or not? So we reach out. So I'm like, look, I don't know. And I want to know. I don't want to promote. I was going to promote a bunch of times, try to get us some donations, which is what I do at every sanctuary I go to. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to do the wrong thing, promote the wrong place. Let's ask her a bunch of questions. So we asked her a bunch of questions. Instead of responding, and she didn't respond. So then we're like, we need to call you. So we call a few of us, like all on the phone together. And instead of answering our very clear, should be very easy questions, rambling, going on and on and on, nonsense. And after a while, I was just like, okay, well, she's not answering our questions. She's either not able to answer our questions because, she's not able to, or she's just avoiding answering our questions because she doesn't want to. I don't know which it was. Either way, it made me nervous about the animals in her care, as on top of a bunch of stories that she told me about her not eating enough, like not getting food enough for her, so maybe not for the animals too. I'm just like, okay, that's not the best position to be in for a sanctuary. But then on top of that, we started hearing from locals who have felt this way about the animals here. We spoke to someone who we felt was a very good source of information, who said that that the animals, it's not a good place. And I don't know, man. This is the information I know. That's all I know. So I'm just like, look, all I did was I said, look, guys, I put up some videos about this place. I'm not sure about this place, actually. I'm doing more research into it, and that's all I'm saying on the topic. And that's it. That's all I did.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. And then people went on about James Aspey ruined this sanctuary. Like, no, I didn't. I just was very, very honest, and I was trying to do the right thing. That's it.
The thing is with this, and I know you don't. I know you said you don't want to get into this, and I don't want to get into it too much further. But I just want to say something that's really pissed me off with this whole situation is that when this thing first happened, and loads of vegans came after you and said you're a fucker for doing this. You shouldn't have gone into that place. You shouldn't have filmed that. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done this. And they were like, this place isn't a fucking sanctuary. It's a zoo. You're fucking glorifying a zoo. They were so angry with you. So what did you do? Yeah. You were like, you know what? Fucking hell, maybe you're right. And you said, look, guys, I think I was wrong about this. And then what happens? You're like, then there's more people coming. Well, you fucking ruined this woman now. You've ruined this place. What the fuck? And it's like, well, I'm sorry, dude. I'm struggling to understand what people actually want in this situation. Like, you know, I felt for you in this sense, right? This is the one thing where I was like, right, what the fuck would I have done here? You can't do right for doing wrong. Like you say, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm going to step back because I'm not sure. And then you're blamed for somehow ruining the place. Or you leave the videos up and then you're blamed because you're promoting what they deem to be a zoo. So what do you do then?
I just did what I felt was the most ethical thing to do, which was take down the promotion until I was sure and ask some questions, which I didn't get answers to, which led me to believe, maybe this isn't great, but I'm not sure. So I'll leave it in the capable hands of certain people that we've talked to about this who live in Panama that can keep a closer eye on it and do more. And that's basically all I really am able to do as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and I honestly, like, for anyone who's chatting shit here on this, I would have done the exact same fucking thing. If I'd have made a video at a place and a load of people, local activists, told me that this place is not a good place and I wasn't sure, I'd remove the videos, make a video saying, guys, I'm not sure about that place, forget it, move on. That doesn't mean, guys, go and attack this place and try and destroy them. If people did that...
Anyway, listen, my guess is if she said that happened, it probably didn't happen. Is my guess. And that's just a way for her to cry and ask for donations. That's my guess.
Whatever, man. Yeah, I think best to move on from it. Now, like on that kind of we're not on that same topic, but this topic has been brought up with, I don't know what you've seen. I don't know how far you've got into this, but this is the last bit of little controversy we're going to talk about before we move on to something more positive. But there are many YouTubers, man, and there have been many videos been made. Some have been more like documentaries. Some have been like straight up slam videos, like 10 minutes of you know, just trying to destroy from various different kinds of people, but they're out there, right? There's whistleblowers, people who claim to know you, people who claim to have, you know, seen and done things and all this. Like, do you have any plans to respond to any of this, or are you just like blocking this out and moving on?
Some of the videos that I've seen, I would say, are from people who aren't that well in certain ways, and I'm not going to respond to that because it just doesn't feel like the right thing to do. Some of the videos I have seen have existed and I just haven't bothered because I know they're a bunch of bullshit and wild. Like, I'm not really interested in fiction videos about me. Like, I just can't be bothered. I have no interest in addressing it. Like, I wanted to address a few rumors that went around a little while ago about killing a puppy, about, what else was there? I can't even remember now. There was a few things. I was like, all right, there's a lot of shit. I'm just going to make a few videos, like, all this shit going on. But it gets to a point, man, where like it's just distracting. It's a waste of time. It's feeding them, giving them energy. And yeah, I've got better shit to do with my life, dude, than respond to each hater video that comes out or each misinformed video that comes out. I've been showing for a long time who I am and what my intentions are. And if people still want to believe otherwise, yeah, like I'm not really interested in trying to change their opinions of me at this point. I'm just going to keep doing what I feel is good and show with my actions and keep trying to help people go vegan and keep trying to do good things. And that's people either love me or hate me or be neutral about it. And I just don't care. Like making friends in the animal rights community, being a popular activist, this isn't my goals. My goals is to strategize for how to do the most good. So no, I'm not really interested. Probably, I can't imagine there's going to be, like, I've seen some videos that are so ridiculous. I got some popcorn out for a couple of them, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. And it was so ridiculous that anyone who watched it and believed it, I question them. I question their ability to receive information and have an objective stance on it and come to a rational conclusion. If anyone believes that shit. So yeah, that's about it. I don't care to convince those people, no.
I think it also, like, personal experience, it comes down to personal experience too, because, you know, at least with like one of these videos that I saw, right, I understand how people can be convinced by it, because this video that I saw, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to give them the attention, but like they told the story in such a convincing way, and if you're not aware of how to tell a good story, like me watching this video, I was like, right, I know what storytelling looks like. I've researched storytelling. That's what I do with my videos, my YouTube videos. My most popular ones are the ones where I've executed like a really well done story, right? They go far because people like that. The structure is done in a certain way. And also, I'd also had experience with this type of person before, right? So this video I was watching, when I was watching it, I was analyzing it. I was like, right, I know the type of person because I've met this type of person before. And I know what this person is doing with this story to try and make it more believable. So I immediately could tell this was a load of bullshit, with the odd nugget of information that was interesting. But like, aside from that, it was filler, it was bullshit. But if you don't know that kind of person, and if you've never studied storytelling, you wouldn't spot that you're being manipulated, and you wouldn't spot that this person is a manipulator, right?
Totally,
so you end up being manipulated, and you end up going down a path of like, I now hate this person because this video was convincing. Yeah. And it's really sad to see so many people do that.
Oh, it's sad in two ways. One, that someone would make the effort of doing a video so manipulative, and two, that people are so easily misled. But especially after so much effort to know what my intentions are in this world. But yeah, man, like, life goes on. This is the last shit I dwell on each day. We're focused on way more interesting things. Yeah,
for sure, man, for sure. We got a super chat from the What the Fuck Vegan. Keep doing what you're doing. Love your work. Thanks so much. I guess that's for, I'll take it for both of us. I guess obviously that's what.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks so much. All right, sweet. So what is the future, man? Right, we've talked about the past, we talked about the present. Now let's talk about what happens next for the Aspeys. Not just you, obviously, Nikki as well. Like, what are you guys doing next? What's going on?
Cool. So Nikki's working on an ebook right now with just her lifestyle tips, food tips, workout tips, that kind of thing. And we are continuing to just post pretty much daily, keep the conversation going about the animal holocaust. Vlogs, like trying to reach just a mainstream audience with just lifestyle kind of vlogs, stuff like that. Cool. My lifestyle for a long time has been moving from place to place, speech to speech, action to action. And I thought I was going to get a bit more downtime in Bali for like 6 months. I haven't stayed anywhere longer than a couple of months in the last 7 years. So I was really looking forward to settling down and then like making some content that I could put some more time into and like structure into. But I think that's going to be somewhere down the future, where I'm going to Brazil soon. I'll still be working on learning Portuguese, which I haven't been doing enough of, and making videos, trying to reach out to influential people to get on their podcast, have chats with them, whatever. And in terms of like activism goals, like I said, I got one really big idea that I'm super excited about. It'll take a lot of money. And I think I will have much better ideas about that in about 3 months of steps forward for that. I'll probably potentially start talking about it then. in the meantime, just super excited to see what happens with the current investment, because everything could change, so soon. Life could change completely. And what else? Is that it? Yeah, man. Like just more of what we do every day. Just advocate online and share screenshots.
Could I ask could I ask what happened to the OnlyFans? Because I've not seen you pushing that. Is
okay? So look, like my Patreon, bro. I've promoted Patreon 2 or 3 times in the 3 years I've had it. OnlyFans, we couldn't do it while we were in Bali because it was a blocked website actually in Bali. And we've been back. We've posted a few things on there since we've been in Panama, back in action. It's mostly for fun for us, man. Just like sharing a bit more of our like just casual lifestyle and in terms of like how we live day to day, and just more of our personality shines through there than always strategizing about how to be an animal rights activist in a subtle, reach the mainstream way. It's just us like just having fun.
So you're not going for it in like a vegan gains way then? No, I don't know if you know what he's like hardcore definitely over 18 content.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've seen it, but I've seen a review video about it, and this guy was making a video about it, and it was like hardcore shit. Which is whatever you're into, right? I mean,
whatever.
That's not for me, but why not, right?
It's all good shit. Like again, it comes down to do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Exactly.
So good for him. That's mad. I'm glad he's breaking down some stigma, having a good time, getting paid. Good on him.
No, exactly. I don't get people that like people. He flipped out about this actually on a stream, I think. I don't know where it was, but he was pissed off because it's like people were telling him what he should or shouldn't be doing with his wife, and he was like, "Fuck you! She's my wife. We can do what we want. We're consenting adults." Like, and I feel him. It's like it's not my vibe, and it's really not for me. But what the fuck? Why does it matter what I think? It's his life. He can do whatever he wants as long as he's not hurting anyone, like you said.
Totally, man. It's like why do people think that they get to tell us how to live and what we have to do and who we have to be? Like, go leave your life. Worry about your own shit. We're trying to have a good time and do good.
Exactly. Let's do let's do a few questions, right? Let's do a Q&A, and not from the chat, by the way, if you're still reading it. I've got questions lined
I've already been responding to them telepathically.
So look, if you're in the chat and you want to ask a question, I can't guarantee you're going to get it answered now because there's a shitload of questions already. But I'm going to go through them now. But the link, you need to use the link. I'm not looking through the chat for questions, all right? So if you use the link, maybe I'll get to it, all right? Maybe I'll get to it. If it's about a topic we've already gone through, I'm not going to cover it. If it's about a topic that we've decided we're not going to get further into because it's a toxic topic, I'm not going to cover it. Simple as that, all right? So don't get upset with me. A few people have already said like David's not going hard enough. It's like we've been through shit. I'm not gonna be like a little troll dickhead like some of you want me to be, all right?
Everyone,
so it's not gonna happen.
Like, what's with all these detectives out there, guys?
I don't know, mate.
Just go find a hobby or something. Nothing unethical happening over here.
Honestly, mate, I think we've got into a lot of stuff in enough detail. I can't imagine what else we could possibly fucking do. That's going to be. Oh, there's one more thing actually. There's one more question. I think that's the only thing I missed earlier. Something that came up a few times, and I'm actually curious as well. Like, what was I know you said in the video that you made about this that you waited because you weren't sure about what was going on with the thing. You didn't want to announce it yet. But like, can you dig deeper into that? Like, what was the reason that you decided to like take the donations and then not? What was the reason for the secrecy? What was the secrecy about? Like, can you dig deeper into that just to help me understand?
It's not that deep, bro. I was just like, it was my opportunity that had come to me. It was all very urgent. It was all a very busy time. I wasn't interested in getting like, if I was going to start saying something, I would have had to say everything and explain everything. And I just wasn't interested in doing that. I didn't have the time, or at that point, I wasn't really that confident in expressing what I was given a very good opportunity, which already my money has doubled. So I was correct in believing what I believed. But was I able to fully explain everything about it in a way that I like was ready to share? Nah, it was all like very sudden, quick. And I was like, all right, oh shit, sell my van, get every dollar I can together to invest in something that could be huge. Not just for me, huge for the animals. This is like a huge priority in my life, in case people still haven't noticed that. Why should I explain? I'm like, guys, something urgent's happening. I need donations. I'm not obligated to explain. It's not unethical not to explain. I don't have to explain. If you don't want to donate, don't donate. And that's the bottom line. I'm not obligated to tell you anything. I wasn't obligated after I invested and did everything to tell anybody anything at all. I chose to. Like, hey guys, I'm onto a good thing. Do what you will with this information, but this could be a good thing for anybody. I don't know, like whatever. But I believe it's a good thing. And that's it. That's all I was saying. So that wasn't that deep, man. It was just like, I was busy. I didn't feel obligated to have to go into detail. I'm not. And I wasn't ready to share it because I wasn't that versed in talking about it at that time.
Right. Okay.
That's it. It's nothing like sinister or, oh, you were just trying to hide it because you would have thought you would have gotten more donations. I may have got more donations if I was just clear, actually. I may have said, look, guys, I have an investment opportunity. So if you donate, I'm blah, blah, blah. That might have got me more donations. So saying that I did it so I'd get more donations isn't necessarily accurate. I just didn't feel ready to do it. And I wasn't sure if I ever would. And yeah, that's my choice. And that's my right as somebody who isn't a charity. I'm just an individual over here.
Got it, man. And in the sense also, before we go on to the Q&A, I just want to quickly clarify something here. That on the same kind of vein as James is going at now, I see a few people are complaining because they're saying I have missed out some super chats on purpose. You're accusing me of missing some super chats on purpose. I've missed some by accident, but yes, I've missed some on purpose. For the same reason that I missed some in my debate with Kaylin, the non-vegan, right? There were 2 super chats in that debate and that came up, and both of them were not good. Both of them were not good for the conversation. Both of them were being offensive or attacking Kaylin, and Kaylin didn't come onto my live stream to be attacked or grilled. He came on for a discussion and debate. James is a vegan, right? But that doesn't give me or you the right to do the same thing to him. Just the same way I wouldn't put somebody on my channel and let you use super chats to attack them. I won't do it here just because James is a vegan. I'm going to give him the same respect I gave to Kaylin. So just to be clear here, if you super chat, if you pay money for the super chat and you're using it to try and attack or make some kind of accusation, and I don't think it's relevant, which I did say in the pinned comment, if it's not relevant, I won't show it. Tough shit, I'm sorry. And if you want to send me a private message, I'll send you your money back. No problem. So you're welcome to email me. You're welcome to send me an inbox on Instagram. I'll send you your money back. But I'm sorry, it's your own fault. You know, if you think I'm going to let you throw silly accusations out when we've had a discussion about the whole thing, you're wrong. So let's get into some questions now. Let's move on to something a little bit more positive, man. I feel like we're bogged down here. Let's talk about some things that are a bit more interesting than this. For like, I don't know, are you cool to stick around for like 20 minutes or more? It's been like almost 3 hours. Is that all right?
Is it? No worries.
Yeah. Feeling good. All right, good. So let's kick off with this one by Kel. Do you think it's our responsibility as vegans to make better environmental decisions to stop animal deaths resulting from human consumption and lifestyle? So yeah, basically, do we think we should be environmentalists as well as vegans, I guess is the question.
I think that it would be a more consistent lifestyle choice for sure. I don't think we're necessarily obligated by being vegan, because I think it's a little, well, I don't know, it's kind of direct. Yeah, like, you know, over the years of being vegan, it's definitely made me be much more careful with my plastic consumption, and I don't know, just a little bit more conscious. But overall, I think if you're vegan, you're probably doing the best thing you can do for the environment already. And you probably are naturally just going to try to make better choices because as you so yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd agree that being vegan is a baseline, and there's a lot more we can do after that, including making much better decisions for the environment, like plastic use and things that do indirectly affect the animals. Of course, we should be definitely doing as much as we can, and yeah, as much as we're capable of doing, and keep learning as well. So yeah, I totally agree. So let's this is an interesting one. What are your thoughts on that vegan teacher? She has caused a storm on YouTube and TikTok with her blunt and to the point activism.
What a legend. What a legend. I hope I get to meet her one day and make a sick vid with her. I've seen a lot. I just saw Russell Brand's video on it. So that's the first time I
Okay.
heard about her. That's basically all I've ever seen of her. I've seen a couple of articles floating around. But yeah, hell yeah, she's made a storm about veganism, about animal rights, with a very blunt message. Respect.
And on this Saturday, by the way, I'm going to do 10 hours straight of that vegan teacher's TikTok to raise money for 2 animal sanctuaries. 10 hours straight of
What
her
do you mean?
videos. I'm watching them live. 10 hours. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, I agree with you. I've got nothing but respect for her resilience, but I still will cringe because I'm not really a big singing and dancing kind of guy. But saying that, I cringe at myself sometimes. So it's like, it's not like an offensive thing. I'm not cringing because I don't like her. I'm cringing because I cringe, right? But anyway, 10 hours of that. So also, I just connected with her through thankfully through a mutual friend. So I'm hoping she might make a special appearance in her 10-hour. That would be sick, right? If she came on in the 10 hours, like, hey, I'm actually here. That would be fucking awesome.
Might give you some fresh material.
That would be sick if she would come on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I hope I've messaged her on Instagram. I hope she responds. That would be sweet.
Matt, if she doesn't respond in a couple of days before, let me know. I'll try as well. And
all right, sweet. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. So we've got a question from Eric here. Do you feel animal sanctuaries are an integral part of animal liberation? And if so, what do you feel is the best way to help them so the animals have a safe place to thrive?
Integral part of animal liberation. Well, yeah, like that is what every animal that's liberated will go to, a sanctuary. So it's like it totally is hand in hand. Is it necessary for the total liberation of all animals around the world? In terms of like a vegan world, I don't know. Like I think maybe not. But are they an excellent place for many reasons? Yes, they give refuge to those who are most in need. And I think something that's hugely beneficial about sanctuaries, aside from giving them home, is that they are so educational. People can connect with the animal, understand who they are, understand who animals are in general, hear their stories, make connections, whether online or in person. And I think that is for sure one of the best things about sanctuaries. What I feel is the best way to help them so the animals who are rescued, liberated have a safe haven to thrive. I think the biggest thing with sanctuaries is probably money. They need donations, and probably some of them also could really use with some more hands helping out. But it's probably going to be different each sanctuary to sanctuary. Although one thing is for sure, so many sanctuaries need donations, need money, because it's expensive to run these places. And yeah, so if you want to help them out, that would be an awesome thing to do.
Definitely. I think with sanctuaries, a vegan world wouldn't have that many of them. They would exist for animals that have been hit by hit by a vehicle, or some animal that's been abused by someone, because even in a vegan world, we're going to have some pieces of shit that still want to hurt animals, right? But I'd hope that the amount of sanctuaries we had would be so minimal, because we don't have these massive industrial systems that are abusing animals anymore, so we don't need that many sanctuaries anymore. I think that's the world I would like to see, where we just they're not necessary anymore because there's not enough animals to fill them. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Right? That world would be beautiful. So and yeah, I agree with the money. They need money and also help. Like if you can get down there and volunteer with them for a little bit, that they really appreciate that. If you've got one nearby and you can get down there, like even like once a month is something that most of them would appreciate. Usually just cleaning up shit, but I mean, someone's got to do it, right? So I've done it a few times.
Or something. I've been to nights where they did a trivia night, and they raised a bunch of donations for sanctuaries and orphans and stuff like that. If you want to organize something like that, it's also good.
Definitely. Another one from Ethan. He asked a few, I think. How might we as activists support one another and promote a culture where we are all fighting to end animal exploitation instead of fighting amongst each other?
Good luck. Mate, this is the thing about vegans, is that anybody can be vegan, and you're going to have so many different opinions of the right way and the wrong way to do things. So my advice would be to don't waste your time with people who are just not on the same vibe as you. Collect a tribe of people who are on the same vibe as you and work together to create some cool things and make things happen. Don't expect to be friends with everybody just because you're an activist and they're an activist, or they're a vegan and you're a vegan. It's just not going to happen. And it's just going to probably waste a lot of your time trying to get on board with everybody. It's impossible. So yeah, find your tribe and work together, and maybe drop in on people who feel differently every now and then, so that you can get some fresh ideas, different opinions, whatever. But ultimately, it doesn't even matter if people go rise above all of that and just be like, whatever, do what you think is right. And who cares if people are fighting in comment sections or things like that? It's kind of irrelevant. Just continue doing what you think is right.
Definitely, I agree. I would say just be, when you create a tribe, when you get your tribe, definitely, one point you mentioned there about make sure you still go outside of it, because the last thing you want is an echo chamber, and that can be really dangerous, when we're in these vegan echo chambers, and then we stop understanding non-vegans when we get in vegan echo chambers, and that can be a really bad thing. If we don't understand non-vegans, how the fuck are we ever gonna change non-vegans, right? So it's important to try and not create an echo chamber, but definitely find your tribe. I agree. This one's I've never seen you do this, by the way, but someone asked it, so I guess you must have done it. Cat's asking, why do you use brown skin colored emojis when you are Caucasian?
I don't use brown colored skin. I use the color that I would say most close to resembling my color.
I had to put it, man, because I saw the question. I was like, I don't know this person. I don't know if they're being sarcastic, but if they're not being sarcastic, I don't know what to say.
Whatever. I don't know. It's an emoji.
I had to bring it up. I just thought it was funny, man. I thought I'd just bring a little bit of
I don't think I've ever used a black emoji.
I've never seen you do that. There you go. Someone thinks you've been doing it. So there you go. There's your answer.
Cool. No worries.
It's Ethan again, man. Ethan is smashing the questions out from earlier. So why is there such a focus on getting people to live vegan, as opposed to getting them to use their voices to speak up for the animals? That's a
bloody good question, actually. And yeah, we should do that more. We should definitely focus more on helping vegans get educated and become activists. You're totally right. I don't disagree. But why do we focus more on vegans? Probably because it feels like it's a bigger impact to stop someone being vegan. To stop someone being a non-vegan, versus helping someone become an activist. But actually, that may not even be true, and it might be a much... Are you there?
Yeah, back now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where'd you get me? It might be. You might be right. It might be a better use of time and resources to help people that are already vegan become activists. Yeah, both is important.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think there's more of a focus on it because, like you said, it's we find it easier to promote like a lifestyle and like, hey, check this out, we can live in a better way. But it's more difficult to tell someone who's not vegan, hey, you should be an activist with me. It's definitely more difficult. But yeah, it's a good question because it's definitely more worthwhile.
Vegans. I think he means, why don't we do that with vegans? Tell vegans to be more active.
Ah, all right. Well, yeah. I mean, both really. Tell everyone to be active.
Yeah,
sure. Atom F asks, do you have any upcoming interviews in the media, or are you trying to get some?
I have an interview coming out again with the Daily Star. They have a very large audience of nearly 2 million on Facebook. We've already done the interview, so I don't know exactly when it's coming out. And that's about it, actually, at this point.
All right. Cool. Nice.
And am I trying to get some? Yeah, I am. I've just finally accepted the offer of someone who's been hassling me for like a year and a half, owns a vegan PR firm. He's like, dude, and I'm like, yeah, email me like 50 times.
50 times, that's what we got, and then it cut.
Finally, I'm like, you know what? Let's chat. And so now I'm connected with this guy, and I think he's gonna help me get more media stuff.
Nice, man. Cool. The next one is a little bit of a Well, let's see. Just Jamie says, why are you handling the backlash to the EWT situation? You cut out where you're back? Cool. So Paulie, for example, deleting comments. Yeah, okay. Go ahead, man. What do you think?
Well, your opinion is that I'm handling it poorly. My opinion is that I'm handling it very well. I've received so much bullshit backlash from it for doing nothing unethical at all and doing what I want with my money. And and there's no scheme happening. There's no scam. Anyone who watched my video and invested will have doubled their money by now. Everything's cool, guys. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. It's all good shit. So I didn't respond to it poorly. why do I delete comments? Or when I respond to comments, I'm rude and defensive. Well, being rude or defensive isn't unethical. If I feel like being rude to someone who's being rude to me, I do. Why do I delete comments? Because why should those people have a voice on my pages when they're talking shit about me or talking a bunch of uninformed or misinformed nonsense? Why would I keep that there? Confusing people and just bad vibes. No, go away. Like, my page is my page to do whatever I want with it. So that's what I do with it. I get rid of the bullshit and the toxic people.
Do you think there is a? You know what's interesting is one of the these YouTubers who criticizes you says about that there's a pedestal. They talk about this, holding you up on a pedestal or holding certain people on a pedestal, right? Do you think this factors into it as to why people get so upset when, like, I get it too, right? When I'm direct with somebody, and I tell someone, look, man, like, I lose my temper sometimes, and I'm like, you know what, fuck off, like, just fuck off my page, like, leave me alone, unfollow me, right? And then people get like, oh my god, like, it's as if they think that you are not. You're someone who shouldn't do that, like, as if you should be able to not do that just because you have a lot of followers. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
Totally. I mean,
like you're held up to a higher standard, but why? Why are you held to a higher standard? You're just one person, the same as everyone else. With about, you have a temper sometimes, you have a shit day.
I would love to see how these people complaining about how I handled it and got defensive. I would love to see how they would have handled the situation I've been in over the last month or so. I'd love to see it, because I know a lot of people would handle it very badly, to the point of it
keeps cutting out at the totally shit time.
It'd be very tough for some people, bro,
Yeah.
to handle what I've been through. Like, I'm cruising, I'm laughing, I've learned a lot, I've grown, like, whatever, it hasn't bothered me. At times I've been like, oh, this is getting annoying and frustrating. But I've been doing this for a long time, accepting criticism,
Keep losing you, man.
But these people who, that's right, I'm just gonna say, these people who are saying I'm being rude, like, how do you think you would respond in my situation? I think you'd just be peace the whole way through to people who are calling you a scam artist, calling you a con man, saying that you've been scamming, taking money from the animal rights community, doing pump and dump schemes with my followers, lying about this, lying about that, killed a puppy, racist, anti-Semitic, there's been a lot of shit flying around lately. And if I'm a bit rude to a few people who deserve it, so what?
Yeah, man, I've had about, I don't know, I've had similar experiences, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't respond by being rude. I responded by having to, like, basically shut my shit down and take 2 weeks away from it all. I couldn't even fucking stay on and respond to people, so I know how it feels. And we've got a mutual friend, which I won't name, by the way, but we have a mutual friend who had such a bad experience with this shit that he ended up in the hospital on suicide watch from this shit. Right, and I think you know who I'm talking about here, but, like, I think we'll talk about it later. You know who I'm talking about, though. He definitely.
I recall, but I can't put the name.
Yeah. It's all right. But the point is that this is another activist who's well known, who went through something not too dissimilar to what you're going through. So people handle this shit in different ways, and none of us are trained for this shit, man. You don't get a training for this kind of level of bullshit. Like, no one sits you down when your account gets over like 20k. Someone sits you down and says, "Hey, look, shit might get rough for you, so here's ways to cope." Like, no, you don't get that, man. You're just thrown in there, and you're like, all right, people fucking hate me, and they wanna see me basically destroyed. What do I do? You're like, fuck, I don't know, like, just cry, right? It's horrible, man. It's a horrible situation to be in. So I feel you. I do feel you. And,
look, man, like I said, it's been a learning experience. It's been awesome. I'm super grateful for it, because my goal is to not only multiply my money, but multiply my followers times 100. That's what I would like. I would like 20 million followers. I would like 100 billion followers. Like, I want everybody following. I'm talking about veganism, and I want the world to go vegan. Right. And all of this hate is a very unusual amount of very directed hate from very passionate haters. It's somewhat uncommon. And it's because I am held to a higher standard, because I'm a vegan, and people think I'm representing the entire vegan community. So they hold me to this very high standard, which is fine. I'm not doing anything unethical. I will debate about it all day long. You know, as we already have talked about many, many times.
Yeah,
People can have an opinion. I have a different one, and I feel like I can back it up very strongly. So yes, they hold you to a higher standard. It's a good thing. It'll prepare me for future things that are going to happen when if my goals come to fruition, and I'm reaching a lot more people than I am right now, especially a lot more non-vegans.
For sure, man. This is a great question, by the way. The next one is an interesting one. Based on the backlash you've received, is there anything you would have done differently in hindsight?
Well, no, but one thing that would have been like, no, absolutely not, nothing. But one thing that would have been interesting would have been if I had learned sooner in my time doing all this to block people that are just not bringing anything positive to my comment section. I always let people just have free range there all the time, everybody. For years, I'd block maybe 5 people, you know, just let it fly. And now I realize that made a lot of people engage in a lot of pointless conversations because these people don't care. And so that's probably the only thing where I'm like, I could have possibly been doing this a lot sooner and saved a lot of people a lot of stress. But not really, mate, because like, you know, you change one thing in your past and who knows how it affects your future, you know, the butterfly effect kind of thing. So no, absolutely not. I'm super stoked where I'm at right now. I'm so grateful. I'm so excited about the future. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling very good in regards to who I am as a person, how I show up in the world, despite how some people think of me. I don't care. And yeah, man, I'm feeling fit. I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling stronger than ever in my mind. So yeah, all good, mate.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And check this is a really interesting one. I wish I'd have asked this earlier, actually. But Val Fry asks, at what point are you going to decide that you've made enough money to take it out and start using it to start benefiting the animals?
It will really depend on what kind of investment opportunities come up. Something big has just come up in the last 3 days. And yeah, like, look, it's a bit too personal for me to get into because it really just depends. It really just depends on how things are going, what things are happening, what opportunities are there. But yeah, and I kind of do have an answer to that question. But I'm just not going to tell you because if there's any reason that it happens and that I am unable to follow through for a multitude of potential reasons. So I would just say, wait and see. I hope that it is sooner rather than later. My guess is it won't be that long. And ideally before the end of this year, I'll have already done some pretty awesome stuff with my money.
Cool, man. All right.
Yeah.
Great. This is a great question. This could be quite helpful with that. Scott's asking, are you aware of the EA movement or ACE? If it makes you rich, the EWT, would you consider consulting them for advice on how your profits could be used to make the biggest impact for animals?
I would definitely consider it. I think that's an awesome movement. I think there's a lot of things that maybe aren't factored into stuff like that. Like you can't really predict certain moves and the impact they'll have. And some of my ideas will have impact in ways that I don't think you can really foresee. You can just have ideas and stuff. But yeah, it's possible. I would definitely consider consulting them, sure.
Awesome. Cool. And this is off topic we're off money now, we're on to something else. Do you see a connection between veganism and human oppression? As in,
I gotta stop you, bro. I gotta stop you. There's
sure.
A comment I need to respond. This guy keeps doing this. Again, no transparency. My money. It's my money, mate. Okay, it's been given to me. If you donate it and you want it back, ask for it back, and then it's your money again. All good. If that doesn't happen, every dollar that I have in my possession is my money. It's not the vegan movement's money. It's not the animals' money. It's not anyone else's money. Your money. It's my money. So it's not my money. It's my money, and I'll do with it whatever I want. If I want to buy a Ferrari with my money, that's what I'll do with my money. You do whatever you want with yours. Cool. All good. Do whatever you want, mate. I'll do whatever I want with mine. That's how earning money works. Cool. Okay.
Stop reading them, man. These people are desperate.
It's not the animal's money, bro. It's not the animal's money. Is your paycheck your money? Is it your money or is it the animal's money? Does every dollar I earn have to go to the animals, even though a large amount of my time does? Who are you? Why are you trying to tell me what to do with my money? I've already said I don't need to do a thing for the animals. I'm not obligated. I don't have to do anything. I do all of this by choice. I'm doing this 3-hour live stream talking about all this by choice. I'm not getting paid. You aren't my boss. Okay, I don't think you understand that yet. Keep thinking about it. All right, sorry, go ahead.
It's all right, man. I see, when I see you looking that way, I know you're reading the comments, man. Don't do it to yourself, dude. Like, do you ever think about that? Like, on a serious note, do you ever think about this, right? Because I can see, like, from how much these guys are, like, distracting you. Do you ever think about just, like, not fucking reading any comments at all on Instagram and just posting?
I have another comment I have to respond to.
Oh, man, come on.
Ex-ethical vegan. Ex-ethical vegan. I'm not obligated to go vegan, James. I can't force you to go vegan, ex-ethical vegan. I would be curious why you're an ex-ethical vegan and not still an ethical vegan, if you ever were. If you are opposed to needless violence towards innocent beings, by your own belief, you are obligated to go vegan. But earthlings on this planet, just like you won't hopefully rape a woman, you won't hopefully shoot a person in the head and steal their money. I also hope that you won't pay someone to slit an animal's throat. It's just doing the basic decency towards other beings.
All right.
Do I ever think about not reading my comment section?
Yes. Do you ever think about that, man?
Recently, I've started thinking about that, actually. Because it's like been a huge case study for me of just constantly reading and understanding where people are at and how people respond to things. But at some point, what I would love actually is to have people who can scan through employ people to, I'm like, post this, edit this video, I want to say this, write this caption, and that'll happen streamlined because that takes so much time. And there's other things. That's what
Earthling Ed has. That's what Earthling Ed has.
Yeah, it would be perfect. I would love that, dude. I'd love a team like that. And yeah, I'm sure one day it'll happen. Like I said, I've been moving around constantly since I became vegan. When I'm more settled somewhere, I'm sure we can make something like that happen.
Yeah.
And then they can read the comments too and just scan and say, James, there's a few here you might want to read. How would you respond to this? How would you respond to that? And it can be a way more streamlined process. Until then, though, I'm probably going to continue reading and having to do all that myself.
You should take a leaf out of, Badass Vegan. Do you know that guy? John Lewis, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He inspired me, right? He had this post, and it was a meme, and it was like a meme of like me watching you all fight in the comments whilst I don't say anything, right? And I was like, fuck, this dude gets like so much engagement. He gets so much like his post gets shared. He gets all the comments and he doesn't even respond to comments. And I thought, have I been doing this the wrong way? So I thought, right, I'm going to try it out. So for a few weeks, I stopped responding to comments, not out of spite. Like there was some lovely comments and I really appreciate people that message me and comment. But I thought, if I don't comment, what happens? Will my account bomb? Dude, it was the opposite. It got better. My content got better. I felt better. Like,
cool.
Try it out, man. I'm telling you, try it out for like a week or two. Just post and just don't look at them. Don't look at them. Don't respond to them. Just try it out.
I do that every time I go to Vipassana. I'll schedule 10 posts or 10 or 20 posts.
Yeah.
And then I come out, I'm like, man, I wonder if anyone commented. And it's like 1,000 comments. I'm like, what? I like engaging with my audience because I want to get to know certain people who are supportive and saying cool things. And but yes, there's definitely.
I love it too. Don't get me wrong. I get a lot of support. I'm not saying I'm ignoring the comments at all, like for that reason, but it's more like I don't know. People message me when they want, something like a real question. So it's like I'm still responding to messages. I'm not ignoring people, but at the same time, like the comment sections, they can get a bit shitty, man. So like it is kind of nice just to kind of let it go and then just let it go. Like if you see something that's not good, you remove it and block the person. If it's something really bad, fine. But aside from that, you just kind of let it go. Let people talk between themselves, and like it feels kind of good, man. You can move on to your next piece of content without worrying about it. You're just like, all right, fuck it, I'll keep going forward. I don't know. I don't do it that. I respond now, but I do have times where I'm like, nah, for this week, I'm just gonna pump out some content and not gonna get in the comments, and it's good, mate. I do it on YouTube as well. Check this out on YouTube. I have a 24-hour window. 24-hour window. 24 hours, I respond to every comment. 24 hours and over, no more, because I've got to make the next video, right? I've got to make the next video. I can't be responding to comments after 24 hours. I've got another video to
I get stuck, bro. I get so stuck. Like sometimes I'm in like 6 different long discussions about shit. And it's a bad habit. It's a bad habit because when I started, if I didn't respond to comments, nobody would. So I was like constantly trying to back up my points and back up my posts, and I was the only one doing it. And then over time, like more people would jump in, but I was still doing it all the time. And even now still, like, yeah, I could probably do better there. Anyway.
Yeah, man, for sure. I think we could all do a bit better with this kind of stuff. All right, there's a good comment, good question. Joseph, do you see a connection between veganism and human oppression, as in the more people that go vegan, the more people will understand that killing people and animals is wrong? Do you see a connection between the two?
For sure. I think definitely that anytime that you become aware of an injustice that is happening or that you are causing, that you were once blind to, you become a little more open to being aware of what else in life is happening. Whoa, racism still exists and sexism still exists, and people stone gay people to death in other countries. And, you know, it's all linked, man. It's all like parts of it are coming from certain types of similar beliefs of might makes right, and certain people matter and certain people don't, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I think totally there's some lots of big connections to making all that.
Definitely agree. I think I've never met a vegan actually who's not learned more about just general things in life, like general ethical decisions after being vegan. Like being vegan is almost like a gateway to learning about all the other fucked up shit we can do something about, right? I find that happens quite a lot.
Totally. I was oblivious to so much stuff when I went vegan. And then I went vegan, I was like, oh my God, I thought this world was like pretty awesome, but now I'm just so disappointed. There's so much work to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm exactly the same on that. And this is a good one, Dominic. I believe if people have different moral values, you can't be friends. With that said, should moralist vegans be friends or even associate with those with different morals, i.e. non-vegans?
So hard, but stay patient, because if you're friends with them, that hopefully it's because they're reasonably cool people. I've just got a friend recently who I always looked up to. He's also super tall, so I looked up to him in two ways. And the other day, he's like, dude, tell me about this energy web token thing. And I just got over it, bro. I was like, man, I've been seeing for years, he still goes fishing, and I know he reads my shit. And I'm just like, I couldn't handle it. And I was just like, dude, look, I can't tell you about it because, like, what are you doing? I want to tell you. I want to like help you out, whatever, you're my homie, but you're still not vegan, bro, after all these years. Like, and I don't really want to help you out because you're going, like, that's one of my biggest things in life. You basically just, we have totally different moral codes. You know, you literally go and hunt them yourself, and you know how I feel about it. And then you come and just casually ask me, and I'm like talking about the animal holocaust here. Yeah. It's like, dude, totally, like, fuck. I've made heaps of progress you don't know about. I sold all my fishing gear, this and that. I'm eating mostly vegan. I had a slip up here and there with this and that. And I didn't know all this shit. So I was like, oh, bro, like that does make me feel better, you know. Actually, I haven't wrote back to him yet, but this is what I'm going to say. Like,
your head.
I'm letting him hang for a few days. I'm letting him hang for a few days on the things that he still does. I want him to think that I'm sitting here just being like, oh, you still do that, and him feeling guilty. That's kind of my approach right now. I'll respond soon and tell him like, dude, I'm glad you made some progress, whatever. How can I help you with the rest of the things?
Sure, yeah.
One sec. My homies, I'm just going to let him know. Fuck it.
All right, man. I can see in the mirror, there's this guy there.
Julio! Julio! Let's just see what he wants. Bro, I'm just on a video. Oh, legend. Thanks, homie. He brought me some water.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Gracias. Okay, man.
So
anyway, back to the question. When it comes to friends, yeah, look, personally, I think it takes time for people, and you can be friends for different reasons. But for me, I have noticed that it gets to a point where I have to be like, what are you doing? What the all of my friends have changed, or like a lot of friends of mine have gone vegan, and a lot of them have made a lot of progress and are moving in that direction. And the ones that haven't, like, I don't really have a lot of time for my friends these days. I've been traveling around the world for 7 years. Like, I haven't kept in close contact with that many of them. So, you know, I guess it's different if you're with them all the time. But I would just say keep them close, Try to influence them. If you are gone, you won't influence anybody. Be patient, even though it's frustrating. It takes people time to change, and just continue believing them, encouraging them, supporting them, doing whatever you got to do to work with them, because they're the best kind of friends to have. Really, it's like that's the kind of table I want to sit at for dinner, a table full of people who aren't there yet.
Definitely, I agree. It's worth if you can handle it. It's worth staying friends. It's worth keeping them in contact, right? If you can hack it, for sure. I agree with everything you said. We've got a super chat from Zev. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate supporting the channel. Thank you so much. And also, James, you acknowledged. Wait, no. Hold up. Before you acknowledge another hater, which I know you're about to do, I want you to acknowledge somebody who is actually not a hater, as someone who's saying fuck the haters. I want you to just say quickly give them all. This is Plants has been talking in
what
the
up,
chat.
Plants? I've seen you backing me up in the comment section. I've seen you also saying there's a couple of things about me you don't like, but ultimately, you trust me. Cool. Either way, I appreciate it, man. And fuck the haters. Like, that's what they do. They hate, and that's all you can really expect of them until they change their attitude. So whatever.
And one more thing before we go on to the next thing. Someone said something. They were a bit worried about you. They said, David, you need to wrap it up sometime. It's been longer than 3 hours. The man is tired.
I'm not. Let's
good to go?
Ready to roll. Just warming up.
All right, sweet. All right, so go on then. Which hater do you want to... So you saw a comment, right? Go on then. What is it?
I'm going to hell myself. Stop using the vegan/animal rights movement to attract dollars to your influencer lifestyle. Sanctuaries are struggling for hay, water, and vet bills. Yeah, how many dollars have you raised for them? Because I've raised thousands and thousands of dollars through being an influencer, and this is clearly an effective approach. And I've got a lot of people following sanctuaries and going to sanctuaries and learning about sanctuaries because I'm an influencer. So just because you think it's a bad idea, because you're using a very narrow mindset about it, doesn't mean you're right, my friend. Yes, sanctuaries are struggling, which means we should get as popular as possible and be as influential as possible. So when someone's struggling, we can say, yo, these people are struggling. Everyone who supports and follows me, let's donate. And that's how it works. That's what people do. So you criticizing that is absolutely ridiculous. Moving on.
Right. Solid. I didn't know you actually went to Israel. Maybe this was a while ago, but someone asked...
Been a couple of times.
Oh, cool. So Ilay asked, how was the protest in Israel for you? Did it make you hopeful? Are you planning to go to the next one, whenever that's going to be?
Okay, the protest was like 20,000 animal rights activists, the largest march ever, as far as I'm aware. Did it make me hopeful? I was glad to see everyone rally together, and to be honest, it didn't really change my hope that much. Like, I always kind of just feel this, like, it's not enough, we need to do more feeling. But yeah, it was a great event. I don't know. I just felt like it deserved more coverage, and maybe we could have done more with the time we had all together like that. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it was awesome. I was stoked. I'm not planning to come to the next one. I don't think it'll take place for a while because I remember the organizers had a really tough time with all of that. So,
all right, fair enough. Complete switch of topic here. Zara, do you think vegans should not promote the objectification of bodies, for example, like particularly female bodies? I guess she's referring to, like, PETA, for example, a good example. Yeah. They use like naked men and women to promote veganism.
I don't think we should. Sorry to interrupt. I don't think we should tell people what they should or shouldn't do with their bodies. If people want to use their bodies to promote veganism, that's their choice because it's their body. Should we promote that? If we want, if they're okay with it, we say, can we promote what you're doing here by using your body to spread a message? And they say, sure, I'd really appreciate that. Then yes, I think we should promote it if we think it's a good thing for the animals. I don't think there's anything wrong with people using whatever means necessary to end a Holocaust, including using their body because it's theirs, and they have the right to do whatever they want, as long as they're not harming it.
Right? It's consensual, exactly. Right? There's a weird thing with this. Like, I kind of don't understand this logic of like, right. So, for example, like way back before, like, women's rights were actually, acknowledged and were in law. women were actually, and even after that, women were judged for showing their bodies, and they were told, "Put it away. You shouldn't show your body." And then
Yeah.
it all changed, and actually, women were celebrated. It's like, no, be proud of your body and show your body. But then it almost seems like there's now a movement telling women, no, 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 don't show your body. It's not good for the, don't show it for activism. Put it away. And it's like, well, what are you trying to regress back to that time where women were told what to wear? Because if a woman chooses to consent, or a man consents to stripping down and doing it for activism, it's something they want to do. They think it's going to be good. They want to do it. They choose to do it. Who am I, or who are you to tell them no, get dressed, don't do that? It's their body, and they have fought for the right. Women have fought for the right to use their body how they please. When you start telling them don't do it, you're basically reverting back to those times where they were told, you have to wear a fucking corset or whatever, 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? I don't really get that. It's a weird one within the animal rights movement for me.
I totally am with you, and I think respect to anybody who's willing to go to those lengths, and any lengths, but including those lengths, and putting their bodies on the line in numerous different ways. So yeah, good for them. I Definitely support them.
So we're on to Instagram now. These are Instagram messages, Instagram questions that people have asked. So Soytheist has asked this question. By the way, if you don't know Soytheist, man, highly recommend you check this guy out. He's solid content, really, really good stuff.
Yeah, send me a link, please.
I will, man. Yeah, he's really solid. You'll love his work. He's no bullshit. He comes out with some stuff that you won't be seeing anywhere else. Trust me. He's got some
really cool
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, really unique. So, but yeah, he says, James, how have you been coping with all the hatred that's constantly directed at you, especially recently? So let me change this question a little bit, because we've already discussed the hate a lot, right? I'll wait till you come back. Are you back? You're back. We've already discussed this a lot, but actually, I want to drill down here with this question really specifically. Like, how do you chill? How do you get your mind off all the shit? Get away from it.
Yeah, it can be hard sometimes. Not just the hate, but just in general as a vegan in a not vegan world, especially as a passionate activist. Yeah, and like this is something that is kind of like a constant work in progress for me, to just put it away, like put this away and just go and enjoy the beach, or just enjoy a movie or something. But I think it's really important to do it, to see it kind of like a job. And, it's just not healthy to always be thinking about the slaughter and all of this kind of thing. It'll just bring you down. And I know that, because it happens to me all the time. I'm just like, oh, I'm thinking about this too much. I'm like getting a bit depressed now. So I just try to have a good balance. When I am doing something else, I'm trying to really be present and do something else. I read some really good books on being present by Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now and A New Earth have really helped me a lot. Meditation has helped me a huge amount, especially Vipassana meditation. Just to be present with the moment, enjoy the moment, accept the moment as it is. And that's and I try to really just and I try to just know that, like, I find it much easier to switch off from it all if I feel like I've had a productive day, or I've been productive lately. For example, the last couple of days, I don't think I posted much, at least not on my timeline, because I've done a lot the last month or so. A lot of news stuff, a lot of dealing with a lot of shit, a lot of posts about some really controversial shit, responded to a whole bunch of people in terms of comments and DMs, and shared them. And, I was just like, okay, I just feel called to have a couple of days of just less of that. And yeah, just trying to pay attention to those intuitive feelings, and allowing them to guide you.
I'm with you on the meditation side of things. That helped me a lot when I was in India doing investigations in slaughterhouses and farms. One thing though, I also read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, by the way, and I loved it. Revolutionary. It was amazing for me. It really opened my mind up. But I have to tell you, man, I don't know if you've seen, I've made 2 videos on Eckhart Tolle, because the dude is, it comes to veganism, oh my God, man, he is terrible. He is one of the worst cognitive dissonance, man. It is incredible when it comes to veganism. Yeah. Nasty.
So I looked it up when I went vegetarian or just been vegan. I looked up Eckhart's position. And I've watched a lot of Eckhart, listened to like so many hours of him over the years. Yeah. And it was so funny. It's like, I wonder what Eckhart thinks. And I look it up, and someone asked him about eating animals, and it was the only time that he responded, and I was like, "Did you just not know how to answer that question?"
Mate,
And
it's
he just
insane.
stumbled. Yeah,
Insane, man. Insane. He brings up fucking Hitler. He like talks about plants having feelings. He fucking goes through the same shit that anyone in the street would say, and he's supposed to be enlightened, man. He's supposed to be this spiritual dude, like a leader, writing books and shit. He came out with the same shit that's some like I'm not saying like random person in the street isn't educated or something, but I'm saying like Eckhart Tolle is supposed to be like a leader in this shit and ethics and like spirituality and all this stuff. Man, I was so disappointed when I did those videos.
Totally. It sucks when that happens. Yeah,
dude, you just talk to him, man. Fuck, you gotta.
I'm gonna. That's my goal, bro. He's on my list.
Yeah, you could. I reckon he would consider that. You know.
I'd love to. I'd love a chat with him. Yeah, any opportunity. I did see him once in Sydney, but it was before I was vegan, unfortunately.
All right. Yeah. Well, I look forward to that. But that would be so sick if you could get a sit down with him. That would be
awesome. Yeah, I'll work on it. Yeah, the right amount of money, you can sit down with almost anybody. Is my guess.
Yeah, I'd like to think that he's not about the money, but dude, I don't know with these spiritual people. I think they are also massively about the money as well.
Well, you know what's interesting? I read about Eckhart that he doesn't donate much, apparently. And then I read it, and then I thought about all the rumors that go around about me. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not just going to believe that because I read it on the internet. And then that was so cool with me.
That's a good point. You know what, man? Yeah. You're totally right. When you've been through all this shit, right? Like, I've been through it too. Like, probably not as intensely as you, 200,000 people, but like, I've been through the shit. When you've been through it and you hear some rumor about someone else, you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe that. Like, I've been through this shit, and now they're going through this shit, and it makes you like have this perspective, doesn't it? Where it's like, it's probably not true, right? But before that, you tend to believe the shit, right? Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's
and
scary
so you drag through the fucking mud yourself, and then you're like, oh god, why
now I got empathy for these people. I'm like, oh man, people talking shit about you. You're probably a great person, you know.
Yeah. I like reach out to them like, hey bros, you want to like do a live stream? I think you seem like a good guy. You know, so much people are chatting shit about you, so you must be.
We need to clear a few things up, mate. Here, jump on.
Exactly. All right. Next up, we got the Veggie Nanny, who asks, will you always fight to end the animal holocaust no matter how much hate or attitude you get?
I guess probably so. I don't see why not. The only reason I would stop is if I felt I was being a detriment to the animal rights movement. And I don't think I would ever think that about myself unless I lost my mind.
That's fair. I agree with that. I'd say the same. Helena Madge1, this is a good one. Do you have any knowledge of other movements getting asked to denounce speciesism? And I guess what she's referring to is that the animal rights movement is consistently asked to not just denounce, but to do activism for many other causes. But I guess she's asking, do you know if any other causes have been asked to denounce speciesism?
Well, recently, Clementine Ford, who is a very active feminist, she wrote on my trip, my business class flight post where I was in business class chilling. And she said something, trying to have a go at me about the environmental impact. And then I asked her, yeah, there's some environmental impact. Do you support the rape and slaughter of non-human earthlings? Yeah, and then like a day or two later, she was doing a post about vegan food, which apparently she has been eating a little bit of lately. So in terms of like a more broad sense, I don't know. I'm not too sure, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who are trying to point out hypocrisy, just like you might talk to Eckhart Tolle about it. You might talk to that feminist about it, etc., etc. I think it's a good idea because these people who are involved in other movements generally care about justice. And so they're a good target audience. Bro, I can't stay for too much longer.
All right, man. We'll wrap it up then. So let's go. Let's see what we've got. Is anything like good here? Let's do. All right, just three more. Then three more.
Sure.
These can be quite short ones. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
First up, what are your thoughts on lobbying style activism, attacking supply over demand?
Totally awesome. I wish there was more of it. I don't know a lot about it, but I know it's very important. And there's a lot of stuff, a lot of roadblocks in regards to just consumerism, veganism. And I'm glad there's people on the job. But yeah, I think that's a definitely an area that needs to be explored more, and there's plenty of room for more people to work on that approach.
I agree. And for anyone who's more interested in this, I am going to have some, I've not reached out to them yet, but I hope they'll agree to come onto the channel to talk about this for a live stream. I'm going to try and set that up because I'm the same as you, mate. I don't know that much about it and I'd love to learn more. So I'll try and put that together soon. And from June 85, what do you guys think about cellular agriculture? So I guess that's like lab meat, I'm guessing.
I think it's probably the thing that's going to end the animal holocaust more than anything. Sadly, in a way, because I wish people would just wake up to the hell that they're causing and change. But I think that it'll be something ideally that will be normalized, that is obviously in countless different ways, a much better alternative to eating the flesh of the animals that get slaughtered, in terms of disease reduction and also suffering reduction, almost elimination, I believe. Assuming that it can be done in an ethical way, which in my understanding it can be, I believe. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I think it's an awesome innovation. I personally, would I eat it? I would potentially eat it to advocate for it, but I wouldn't want to eat it. I would only do it if I thought it was a good idea. I'm not interested in eating actual flesh. I'd rather just eat the meat that comes made specifically from plants.
Exactly. I don't think it's necessary for the vegan world, but I do think it's going to help a lot, especially only the ones that are done ethically, like you said. For example, there is a company that's making it out of microbes from a volcano. They're making meat from microbes from a volcano. There's nothing unethical about that, right? Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, they're doing that, and it's apparently going to be cost efficient. So that's really cool. But yeah, I don't agree with taking cells from animals to do it. I'm not about that. I think we need to find an alternative that is not involving animals in any way, shape, or form, and then I'll be on board with it. I don't see why not at that point.
Cool. I don't know too much about the process. I might agree with you there. Like I said, if it can be done in an ethical way.
Definitely. And the final question we're going to finish on from your pal Vegan Vizard, who I know, the meme maker. Yeah! Would you rather have edible spaghetti hair that regrows every night, or sweat maple syrup?
I'd rather the edible spaghetti hair, because I would probably not want to be so sticky all the time. And I love spaghetti. I love foods in noodle form and in roll form. So that would be epic.
Yeah, I think it would be sweet. I think to be able to have a food source that you don't have to pay for, it just grows out of you every day. That would be sick. I think that's awesome. Yeah. Totally
wholemeal spaghetti, preferably.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate that. Great question. Look, man, I really appreciate you coming on to do this. It's 3.5 hours, and it wasn't the easiest. They were tough discussions, man. So I really appreciate you coming on and getting on board with this. And and I hope for the people that came here to support, I hope that this has answered a few questions, and I hope you learned something. And for those that came here to hate, thank you for giving me the views and the watch time, because it really helps. And do you have anything left to say?
Gave you super chat money.
Exactly, yeah. But you can have it back. Hey, if you're a hater, you sent me a super chat.
It's yours, mate.
You can have it back. No, it's seriously, you can have it back. You know it back. I'm not going to steal it. I'm not going to run away with it if you wanted to hate. But dude, do you have anything you want to say to finish up on? Is there anything you want to close on before you shoot off?
Thanks to you, bro. I appreciate all the work you do for animal rights. Like I said, the first video I saw of yours was a few years ago, and I loved that you were putting it to Francione. It was awesome, and sticking up for all the activists, and that's kind of what you are still doing, sticking up for other activists. Yeah. And I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate the part that you play in helping the animals and helping the activists and all the good shit you do. And apart from that, thanks to everybody who joined us. Hope you enjoyed. I hope that after this, some of you will feel refreshed to go and just be strong and say it how it is. And for anyone who was confused about me, well, whatever, you may still be confused. You may think otherwise. You may think worse of me or whatever. But yeah, I will continue doing what I can to do good shit. And best wishes to you all in your advocacy, whatever you're doing. Hope you do amazingly well. And the animals deserve us to really do our best and work very hard and think about this regularly and talk about it all the time and do what we can. So let's do it. And that's about it, bro. Hopefully we get to meet one day, work together in another way sometime, and
Yeah.
continue staying in touch.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. By the way, if you've got to shoot off, shoot off. But if not, if you want to hang out in the backstage for a minute, I'll be there in a minute and we can have a quick chat.
Okay,
And I'm just going to do like a
I'll see
quick
you in 2
little
minutes. Yeah.
closing thing. Yeah. Cool, man. All
Wicked.
right. See ya.
Bye.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for getting involved here. Like, really, really enjoyed that chat. I hope it was useful for you. And I know there's been a lot of trolls and haters in the comments and a lot of people arguing with them. But like, I appreciate all of you who came here for good reasons, good intentions, and supporting me, supporting this conversation, supporting my channel. It's been, I enjoyed it. Look, there's some good stuff coming up tomorrow. We've got a good video that's going to be very interesting, but I think actually the most interesting videos of this week are going to be Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, we've got 10 hours of That Vegan Teacher. That's right, I'm going to try and do 10 hours of That Vegan Teacher in a row to raise money for 2 vegan sanctuaries. And maybe That Vegan Teacher will join. I don't know. I've already asked if she'll come and we'll see if she'll come. But yeah, don't miss that. That's on Saturday starting at 12 o'clock my time, 10 hours. Join me for the whole thing. And Sunday is, we're getting serious on Sunday. On Sunday, I have got a guy who was undercover, went undercover over 20 years in these animal farms, slaughterhouses, exposing them, and he was basically posing as like a potential farmer or slaughter worker or whatever, and he did this for 20 years. His name's Rich Hardy. He wrote a book called Not As Nature Intended, and he's coming on Sunday to discuss all of that. That's going to be so interesting, and I'm really excited to get him on, and it's going to be emotional as fuck. I've already read most of his book, and let me tell you, it's wow, it's something. All right, so it's going to be a busy weekend for me, and tomorrow, every day until Sunday from now, the next 4 days, we've got like just video, live streams galore. I'm loving it. I'm doing it all because I want, I'm doing this, putting this out for you guys, and the support you're giving me is amazing. I really appreciate you sticking around and all the support with the Patreon team. Thank you so much if you're in the Patreon team and the super chats and all this good stuff. Really appreciate it, guys. So, see you tomorrow, see you Saturday, see you Sunday. If you want to support my work, please do get involved in the Patreon team. The link is in the description. You can join for $1 a month. It might not seem a lot to you, but it really does help me. And if you like this t-shirt, well, you're going to have to wait a little bit because they're not coming just yet. But check this out. You got this on the front. You got this on the back. This is Total Animal Liberation. You can kind of see it. These are coming real soon as well, so if you want to pick one of those up, stick around. We're going to be doing that soon. The book, by the way, sorry, that someone's asking about the book for Rich Hardy. It's called Not As Nature Intended. So you can get a copy of that, read it before Sunday, and then you'll be able to meet the author. It's going to be really powerful. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you all for your time. See you all tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday.